All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, viewers. We are glad you're watching Afrique 24 TV. This is Afrique Political Talk Show, a show that comes on your screen every evening and gives you an opportunity to interact with what happened in our political scene. Karibu sana, karibu na tuweze kujumuika pamoja kama Wakenya tuzungumze maneno yanayotuhusu. Of course, with you is Leo Nyabaya. I'll be taking you through today's talk show. And today we have a lot lined for you. Just keep it here. Ensure that as you join us, you subscribe, you like and share all our social media pages so that you can be able to invite others to watch together with you. Karibuni sana na tuweze kuendelea na mazungumzo siku ya leo. So as you join us, ensure that you like the video, share, and invite others so that they can be able to follow together with you. Of course, this is Afrique 24 TV. We are coming live on our YouTube channels. We are live on Facebook pages, and we are also live on Mutembei TV, Facebook, and YouTube. We're also live on Leo TV, Facebook, and YouTube. And of course, you can also find us at Kenyan Digital News. This is a wonderful show that gives you an opportunity to interact with Kenyan politics. Karibu sana, kila mtu amekaribishwa, na sisi kama Wakenya tuweze kuzungumza wazi wazi pasipo kuwa na upande au ule mrengo unaoshabikia. So all Kenyans are welcomed for this wonderful show. Karibu sana. This is Afrique 24 TV. All right, and as you join us today is of course Monday, the 4th day of December. Na najua kila mtu anafurahia wakati tunapofika mwezi wa December, because December is one of the happiest month. This is the last month of the year, and this is the month that everybody gets an opportunity to share moment with the family. This is the month of happiness. This is a month of togetherness, and of course, this is a month that most people spend what they've been making through the entire year. So that one is also happening here at Afrique 24, as we are going to be giving you lots of prizes. And to those people who are subscribing to our YouTube channel and liking and following our Facebook pages at Afrique 24, you stand an opportunity to get lots of awards and just some Merry Christmas and New Year gifts are lined for you. So don't forget to subscribe, invite others, and also share with your friends and relatives so that whenever we are live, you can be able to listen. So top on the stories, we have a lot of things that have been lined for you today, because we are going to discuss the matters Kenyan economy. Na wadau, kama mnavyojua, kuna shida. We were told that we're going to have some edible oil. And as things stand now, it seems the edible oil is becoming unedible or inedible. It is turning out to be poisonous. So this is after some revelations and some exposure that have been done by the Kenya Brewery of Standards. So sijui wewe maoni yako ni yapi? We are going to get an opportunity to look at that. We are also going to discuss matters politics, and that is the matters of the political parties. We know what is happening in UDA. We are also having rebels in UDA. So those rebels, the ones we are seeing in Jubilee and ODM, hiyo ugonjwa ya kurebel and going against the party or the political, your party's position, imefika huko UDA. Tutaona je, wataweza kupambana aje na huu ugonjwa. Na vile vile hustlers pia hatujawacha nyuma, manake tunaenda kumulika pale Eldoret, mahali ambapo tunaambiwa kwa hustlers wanalia mambo hayaendi sawa sawa kibiashara. So karibu sana na tuweze kuzungumza pamoja. Namuona Pen Nyagaka amejiunga nasi, karibu sana Pen Nyagaka. Dan Kemboi, karibu sana. Dan Kemboi is saying that Kambas are happy Raila is fooling Kalonzo and he will be on the ballot 2027. Oh, such discussions are things that we discussed here. So Dan Kemboi, keep it here, and soon I'm going to show you how you can join me in studio so that we can be able to have this kind of conversation. That's an interesting topic that we need to look at. Kuna wale pia naona tayari wamesha like video pale. Namuona Josephine Leian, karibu sana. Edwin Kavali, tunashukuru sana. Fabian Sichenje, Jeremiah Oyugi, Ochieng Collins pamoja na Paul Wairimu, karibuni sana. Na as you join, tafadhali nimekwambia usikose kutazama kipindi hiki, na wakati unatazama tafadhali usiutazame peke yako, hakikisha kwa umekaribisha wengine na waweze kutazama kwa pamoja. I'm fine, thank you. Kerio Ewoi, karibu sana, na unaweza kutuambia kwa unajiunga nasi ukiwa upande gani wa Kenya ama upande upi wa dunia. So just let us know where you are watching or where you are joining from. Just your name and where you are, and kindly ensure that you subscribe to our channels so that whenever we go live, we will always ensure you get notified. Kuna mengi zaidi ya kuzungumzia kama Wakenya. Namuona pale Chwea Ibra anasema kuwa nawapata vipoa sana. Ibra, karibu sana, na pia ningependa utujulishe kwamba unatutazama au unatupata ukiwa maeneo gani. Kuko vipi mahali upo? Bado mvua unanyesha au kumeanza kukauka? Na kama mvua unanyesha huko, naambiwa kuwa kuna wale wenye wako kwenye hatari wa kubebwa na maji. So safety first. You can also confirm to us whether you are safe or not. Karibu sana Jeffrey Onyapidi, tunafurahi sana kuona kuwa unajiunga nasi. So here at Afrique 24 TV, we not only discuss politics, but we also create some opportunity to welcome you, bring experts, and also to bring people who are going to give us some advice. Like just next this week on Sunday, we are going to bring some experts to tell us something about buying land in Kenya. Najua mambo ya shamba imekuwa ni shida sana, na mnaona watu wengi wanahamishwa hasa wakati wa mvua na wanakosa mahali pa kwenda. Ni kwa sababu hawakupata ushauri unaofaa. So just wait for this, it's coming home. You'll get an opportunity to know when, where, and how to acquire land in Kenya.
We begin with the mysteries surrounding Kenya Kwanza government
So this Sunday, I just wanted to report to you that we are going to unlock the land dilemma in Kenya. We are going to have an expert with us in studio who will take us through step by step on how to own land in Kenya. Na kabla tuanze, nimesema kwa I'm going to send a link there for those people who wish to join the studio so that they can take part in today's discussion. Just click on the link there. Kuna link nimetuma pale kwenye comment section. You'll find it on your Facebook where you're following us from, or you can also find it on the YouTube. So just click on the link, then you'll find yourself in the studio. As long as you turn on your camera and you give access to your microphone, utaweza kuzungumza na watu wazi wazi. Jeffrey Onyapidi is following us from the border of Uganda. Tafadhali ningependa utuambie huko Uganda mafuta mnanunua pesa ngapi? And just to start us off, ladies and gentlemen, as I welcome you once again and encourage you to invite others and share the link so that we can have as many people as possible watching us. Let me play for you some of the videos that will show you what has been taking place in our political arena for the last 24 hours. And some of these happenings, together with your experience are going to form part of today's discussion. And to those joining us, karibuni sana, and we really appreciate. Namwona Sophie Mwero tayari amesha like pale, Joseph Leyan, Edwin Kavali, Fabian Sichenje, Jeremiah Oyugi, Uchieng Collins pamoja na Paul Wairimu. Tunawashukuru sana na tungependa kuambia kuwa muweze kukaribisha wengine ili tuweze kutembea kwa pamoja. Namuona pale Dan Nero Bimba anasema kwa Dan Kemboi, whether Kalonzo ama Raila, we are ready. Maisha ya bottom up hakuna mmoja anaweza. Kumbe bottom up ilikuwa ni maji ya kwa chupa. Hayo maneno mengine, matako ya chupa juu mtu akunywa hadi aimalize. Sikuwa nataka kuambia vipi wajukuu zangu kuhusu stories za bottom up. The guy is quoting some of the words that were told by one Musalia Davadi, trying to explain what bottoms up is. So top on our story, as I told you, there's this issue of edible oil. So just watch this video, then from that you'll tell me, jameni, sisi kama Wakenya tunaelekea wapi? Serikali ina jukumu la kulinda wananchi, lakini utapata kuwa serikali yetu inafanya tofauti. Badala ya kulinda watu, serikali ndio inaongoza kwa kuleta mafuta ambaye wakifanya uchunguzi inaonyesha kuwa sio mafuta mzuri na afya ya binadamu. So is the government doing this one intentionally, or it was just a slight mistake and we need to forgive them? And apart from that, you'll find that the country has also lost a lot of money, running up to about 30 billion that has been embezzled in that edible oil scandal. So we are going to look at that. So just listen to this.
We begin with the mysteries surrounding Kenya Kwanza government multi-billion shilling cooking oil importation. And tonight, we can report that the government's own Kenya Bureau of Standards has declared that the oil consignment is unfit for human consumption.
Well, the country's standards body now wants the edible oil consignment destroyed before it gets into the local market. As Ayub Abdikadir explains, this comes days after the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission launched a probe into the loss of billions of shillings through the edible oil scheme.
In its letter dated 5th September and addressed to the Managing Director of the Kenya National Trading Corporation, the Bureau of Standards concluded the consignments have been rejected and the importer is hereby advised to reship them back to the country of origin within 30 days from the date of this letter, failure to which they shall be destroyed at the importer's cost. The Kenya Bureau of Standards subjected consignments entry numbers 23 MBAIM 4024 73344, 23 MBAIM 40332168, and 23 MBAIM 403235943 to test against the Kenya standardization specification for fortified edible oils and fats. The results established that the consignments failed to comply in vitamin A and insoluble impurities. In its final report, the Bureau of Standards established that for fat content, the edible oils exceeded the required amount by 0.47% by mass, containing 99.97 instead of the required 99.5. For moisture and matter volatile at 105 degrees Celsius, while the required standard is 0.2, the oil subjected to test contained 0.03. The acid value of the edible oils measured, potassium hydroxide in milligrams, was 0.12, whilst the required standard is 0.6. For the amount of peroxide oxygen per kilogram of oil, while the requirement is 10, the edible oils contain 5.42. The examination by the Bureau of Standards also found that the imported oil contained 0.04 of insoluble impurities, while the required standard is 0.05. While the study by the Kenya Bureau of Standards took place in July, it's not clear, however, why all the other consignments shipped in before July were not subjected to lab tests. Why has Kebs not destroyed the oil as stated in its letter? For instance, the consignment number 23MBAIM 40274-7001 exported by the Multicommerce FZC, registered in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates, was not subjected to tests. The importation of the 125,000 metric tons of edible oil was meant to bring down the cost of living, but it turned out the price of the consignment was inflated, making it uncompetitive. Last week, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission questioned top KNTC officials after it emerged that companies owned by people with close links to government were single-sourced to procure food and edible oils through the National Trading Corporation. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
Oh, yes. Thank you, guys. I can also see Jex is also available here. So we are going to move on together. So having watched that video, guys, this is still Afrique 24 TV. We are live on your screen. You can follow us, you can watch us, you can view, and you can also share your comments directly by typing them on the comment section, either through your Facebook or your YouTube handle. And very soon we will be on X, and kwa wale wa TikTok pia hatuta waacha nyuma. Ni mambo ni kwa mpango tu, tutaweza kuwafikia hivi karibuni. And apart from that, I know some of you are following us from different channels. You can be able to follow this show live on Mutebei TV. We are live on Afrique 24 TV, and we're also live on Leo TV. And of course, if you're joining us through the Kenyan digital news, you're also able to follow this one-on-one. We are doing this because we want to reach a wider group of Kenyans so that nobody is left behind. What we do here is just to educate fellow Kenyans, to collect your views, and to involve each and everybody in matters of Kenyan politics, Kenyan economy, and everything Kenyan from wherever you are. So allow me maybe to take you back to what happened around June 18 concerning this issue of the edible oil that is now turning to be inedible oil. One of the government's a propaganda mouthpiece wrote, and I'm referring to someone called Dennis Itumbi, who happens to be speaking for the Kenya Kwanza government. He said that President William Samoei Ruto and the CS Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria decided to fight the edible oil cartels. And in fighting the edible oil cartels, the president and the CS Moses Kuria, his aim was to bring down the prices of oil from Kenya shillings 348 to 250. You, my viewer, you will be able to confirm that. If that one indeed happened, you'll be able to tell us. Then different measures were approved by the cabinet, and they succeeded, and the price came down to 218. So maybe somebody somewhere can be able to confirm to us the current prices of the edible oil, that is mafuta ya kupika, salad, the solid one, anything that you use in cooking food. And they decided to fight the local manufacturers, and majorly the local manufacturers that we have in this country. We know we have the Bidco, Menengai, the Pwani oil, and we also have the golden fry, golden oil, and the Kappa oil. So in doing so, they branded them as cartels, and they say that the government is now going to import oil on its own through the Kenya National Trading Company, that is KNTC. It turned out that the oil that the government was planning to bring after spending over 30 billion Kenyan shillings is not good for consumption. Sasa hapo kama wananchi, kama raia, sisi tumewekwa wapi? Maoni ni yako, sisi tutakuwa tunayapitia na tutakupatia nafasi ya kujieleza. Na ningependa kuambia kwa wale wanaotazama, kabla uanze kutazama, tafadhali ensure you like the video, you share the video, and you invite others to join you. And also do tell us where you're following us from. I can see Dan Keboy, Anaona Zakayo, Ako India, now Renko. What does that one show? Those are some of the things that we want to see. Those are some of the observations that we want to see. And that is why we make it easy for you to join the live show. Just through the link, you are able to be here and you speak it out. Hatutaki kuzungumzia mtu mara propaganda, mara huyu alisema, kuja ujisemee mwenyewe. Good year, karibu sana. Happy to see you again. Nero Bimba, karibu sana. Na kwa wale wamelike pale, kumbuka kwa the more you like, the more you share, you also stand a chance to get some gifts. Remember, this is the month of this. Hii ni ule mwezi wa kupeana zawadi. Huu ni ule mwezi wa kusherehekea. Sasa hatutakuacha nyuma. Humphrey Kungui wa Mwanda, Norman Boy na Patrick Lumumba na Komolo Kenya na Sophie Mwero, asanteni sana kwa kuweka tick pale. Sasa jukumu kisha mmekaribisha watu wengine pia waweke tick. Kabla pengine niweze kuendelea kidogo, wacha nimkaribishe Jex aweze kutuambia ameshinda vipi jioni ya leo, kama ako salama, na pengine atuelezee kama mvua inavuta watu huko ama hakuna. Bwana Jex, habari ya jioni?
Salama sana. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. Karibu sana. People have really missed this show and I can see the noise over there. People are really waiting to hear from them.
We have been having some teething
issues. Also
waiting
to hear from them.
We have been having some teething issues here and there. We have been having some beautiful challenges, I would like to call them so, but we are almost out of the woods. We just need a day or two and we'll be actually extremely good. To our viewers, thank you so much, one, for your patience with us, and above all for supporting Africa 24 and for always staying tuned even when we broadcast. Asanteni sana. We never take it for granted. You guys are just but amazing. You are a fantastic lot, and asante sana. This is Africa 24, of course. With me and with you is Leo and Randall. Asanteni sana. Guys, you are just but an amazing team. I'm always proud to work with all of you and to be watched by all of you. Asanteni sana. I've missed you as well. I've really missed being on the show fully. And but I think after tomorrow or the day after, we should be good to air every day, both our evening and our morning show. So we small challenges ambazo wazikosi, you know. But now we are very good. We are almost there. We plan to really do this in the best way possible. That's why we are doing all that we can to make sure that you enjoy our programming here at Afrique. And also to our viewers, I have good news for you. For those of us who have already followed us on TikTok, yesterday we had a show, and very soon it will also be airing concurrently with this one. So TikTok tumeanza. So we are growing, we are doing well, and thank you so much for following us on Afrique. We already hit the 1,000 subscribers needed, and we are so grateful. Asanteni sana. As well, those who are following us on YouTube, asante sana. Follow us, like the page, and as I've always told you, here at Afrique, you stand a chance of winning great and grand prizes only if you subscribe and like our videos, and kindly be watching every content that we post to you. For you to know the show, for you to know that we are on the show, kindly subscribe to Afrique 24. Probably we might not be in other channels, but here on Afrique we will definitely be live. So subscribe to Afrique 24 and you will definitely get notifications whenever we are on. Good to see you, my brother Randall. Good to see you, Leo. Hope you guys are well. I'm equally well. I love your show. I love the topic for tonight. I know umejitwika njuga ili kung'amua hilo swala vizuri, my brother Leo, but I'll be here helping. And above all, we wish to invite you who is joining us at the moment. Karibu sana. Let us know where you're tuning in from and let us participate in this awesome conversation. I see Goodyear Akondani, asante sana. Dan Kemboi, Nero Bimba, I see you among many others who have done the same. Thank you very much. This is your show, of course, with able guys like Cleo, Randall, and myself. Asante sana. You can be part of this conversation by joining us through the links posted on your comment section. It will happen depending on the link ambao unatutazamia. Utaingia kupitia StreamYard, washe kamera, uandike jina, alafu wala utajikuta uko live hapa kwa studio. Thank you very, very much. I see Boss Lady is saying hi. Hi to you, Boss Lady. Thank you very much. Swala kali, swala la edible oil turned the opposite of edible.
Wadau wataweza kutukosoa hapo. Hatujui kama tutasema ni inedible or unedible. Namwona Randala ako pale, ako kule nchi ya Kiingereza, nchi ya King'eng'e. Sasa ataweza kutuambia ung'eng'e kwa ung'eng'e wanasema vipi? Ni unedible au inedible? Maanake hatutaki kutumia jina mbaya, hatutaki kusema poisonous. So utatuambia ilikuwa edible. Sasa ikikosekana kuwa edible, utasema ni unedible ama inedible. Swali kwako wakati unajiunga nasi na pia unatuambia uko upande gani na wewe maoni yako ni vipi? Anakumbuka kuwa we are on the 4th day of the month of December. This is the month of happiness. This is the month that people share love. This is the month that people share gifts. This is the month that people visit each other and they meet each other. And of course, this is the month that when you travel home, you have to buy them some oil. So you need to be careful. Don't buy them that oil that is not edible. Karibu sana Bwana Radal, na pia uweze kusalimia watu na utuambie ni yepi umekuja nayo siku ya leo. Na kabla uingie, wacha tutazame na tukumbuke wazee kidogo, manake mwezi wa Disemba kuna yale yalikuwa yanatendeka kitambo sana. Ukiwa ushago kama kwetu, ulikuwa unapata huu ndio ule mwezi watu walikuwa wanakata miti wakitengeneza makaa, ila hali waweze kupata hela kidogo za kwenda kutembea hapa na kule ifikapo hiyo siku ya sikukuu ya Christmas. Huu ndio mwezi kama huko unavalia viatu. Nasikia wengine wanasema walikuwa marais kwa sababu hawako wanavaa viatu. Kuna wale walikuwa wanatembelea mguu tupu, lakini mwezi wa Disemba hapo ndio wale pengine babako au ndugu yako yule alikuwa pale town angekuja na aweze kununulia kiatu. Wale walikuwa wanavaa Reeboks wanatambuana. Kuna yale majina ya majins. Mimi pengine nilikuwa naziona tu kina Levi's na nini. Wacha tutazame.
Nilisema mwaka wa 98 kwamba nitajiuzulu ama nitastaafu kipindi hiki cha miaka 5 ikisha. Wengine hawakuamini kwa sababu wanaamini power katika kontinenti la Afrika kwamba kuna mtu anaweza kuwacha power ya urais. Power iko kwa wananchi, na sisi tu ni wadhamini yao.
Jinsi alivyosema hayati mzee Daniel Moi, power iko kwa wananchi. Ndiposa hata sisi hapa Africa 24 tunasema power iko kwa wananchi. Sisi tunakupatia tu platform uweze kujieleza. Maoni ni yako, yawe mabaya mazuri ni yako. Hakuna yule mtu atakuzuia kuzungumza waziwazi, manake we are in a free world. Karibu Randal.
Asante sana leo, Jakes, my old time friends. Niwasalimia wote mko Kenya. Those are on the comment section. Wale kwa nyumbani wana watch. Niwasalimia wote. And yeah, na wale wa kawaida watu wa familia ya Africa 24. When it comes to edible, the opposite is unedible. So you asked the questions plus you answered it yourself. Hapa naweza sema ni baridi sana. It's very cold. It's very cold over here. Hiyo mwezi ya winter tunaingia. Mwezi ya December mpaka February na January na February. So at the moment watu wako ndani, kienda nje ni makoti na mascarf, magloves, maboots, socks navaa kama 2 na bado nasikia baridi. So tuko hivyo tu, lakini wasalamia wote, asante sana kuniingiza. When I came on this platform, I saw something about 20% of Zambia trees being given away, and I put the link. Lakini I did not know it was Kenya Kwanza evil plan to expose KEBS. I don't know much about that. So maybe yeah, I logged onto the platform about some other information. I thought today you're focusing on Zambia and the trees. I thought you had something about that. So yeah. But anyway, how are you, Jakes, and how are you, Leo? Can you hear me loud and clear? That's good. I'm asking you, Jakes, how are you doing?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
I'm good, just cold.
Mm.
I believe you're very hot over there. If you can show me some weather, you can send me some weather here. I'll be very happy.
Yeah, I'll sure do. We are talking on the expose that happened. Of course, Leo had the opportunity to play a clip. Of course, explaining more on how oil that was meant to help Kenyans, especially in lowering the cost of living. Because you remember some months back, the government allowed importation of duty-free sugar, oil, blah blah blah, so as to allow it into our country, and that in turn will help reduce the cost of these products. Now, this being a project of William Ruto, um, it was meant to, you remember back then they were saying we don't have enough oil, or rather the prices of oil was too high, sugar prices were too high, fuel prices, among many other things. So what the government decided to do, I think it was in January thereabout, is to allow duty-free commodities like sugar, um, cooking oil, rice, maize. That, according to them, then was to help reduce the cost of living. You remember when we were saying that Zambia can help us, import, they will import maize to our country. You remember they were saying that we can now farm in their land. You remember those days, eh? Now, during that time, the CS for Trade, right? None other than Moses Kuria, allowed importation of the same. Now, this topic was well covered on the Standard on Saturday, and that's why we have that on the screen, where it spoke of the hit and misses of Ruto's pet projects. This was one of them. This is a project where oil came into our country. Unfortunately, the one that now has been termed, did you say inedible, unedible? Is that the correct word? Unedible is the second consignment. The first consignment has already been distributed. So Kenyans have already consumed. Kenyans have already enjoyed, or rather used oil, the first shipment of the oil. Now, this the one that has been classified as not fit for human consumption is the second bunch. Now, the question is, was the first one okay? Who certified it? Did Kebs do the due diligence? Was everything up to book? Why is this second shipment having issues? And up to what stage did Kebs come in? Did it go inspect the oil at the importation stage, at the landing stage in our ports and all? When did Kebs do their job? Because I think it ought to have done this before it's even transported to our country or shipped to our country. Now, I don't know what you think about that, Randall. Is it a failure on the government not to do its proper duties? Because how do you bring food, right? Because oil is classified as food. How do you bring food that it's not fit for human consumption? And then again, if you go back in history, you realize that few months ago sugar went missing. You remember? Few months ago, sugar that was burnt, not unclassified, not fit for human consumption, at around, I think that was back in 2018, was banned in our country, right? And after Ruto came into power, there was that scandal where sugar went missing from the warehouse. Of course, there was all those hyped drama of people being fired and all, but we really didn't see the government footing on one locating the sugar, or if we eventually even consumed it as Mwananchi. Now here is another scandal again, where oil that has been classified as
Free.
unfit for human consumption is in our stores. How sure are we that one, it will be destroyed? That two, it will not land into scrupulous dealers who will eventually steal it and sell to us? The other question that is still very pertinent is, what happened to the first consignment? Was it a good consignment? Was it cleared? Can we see the documentation from Kebs and all? So basically, those are the things that are boggling the minds of Kenyans, and basically that's what we, I think, through Leo, have decided to talk about, together with the many things from the COP 2023, from what is happening in Zambia, and many other issues. Of course, we are discussing the hit and misses of Fruto Pets project. There are so many projects, including, you remember, just a few weeks ago, the KCP was released and it was all blunder all over again. So why is it that Ruto seems not to get anything right? There's nothing that is doing is hitting the right places. Everything seems to be going haywire. Everything seems to be, not really going out well with the public. So basically, that's what we are discussing. I hope now you're up to speed, Bwana Randall, and we can now participate. But thank you so much, Charity. Somali Charity Organization, I see you. Mnasema mko ndani. Boss Lady, uko ndani. Asante sana. Leo TV, I see you. Good year and many following us. Asante pia kwa wale ambao wana like hii video. Can I read some, Mr. Leo? I see Joseph Leyan ame like hii video. Thank you very much. I see Zadok Owinyi ame like hii video. Thank you very, very much. Leo TV, thank you for liking the video. I see Silver Shine Cleaners. Asanteni sana kwa kulike hii video. Humphrey wa Mwada, asante sana. Norman Boy, asante kwa kulike hii video. Ochieng Collins, I see you, my brother. Thank you for liking the video. Paul Wairimo, I see you. Jeremiah Oyugi, and many, many liking and subscribing to Afric 24. Randall, if I can take it back to Leo, but let me ask you, what do you make of these scandals that keep on happening in Kenya Kwanza's regime? Not forgetting the oil, not just the edible oil, even the fuel oil or the fuel saga that I think it's still very hot. The Angeri 17 billion oil, yeah? So what do you make of these projects, misses and hits of Ruto's government?
Right, is that directed to me or is it to Leo?
Let me begin with you, Randall. Then Leo will take over, even as you continue moderating. I was just na chocha tu hapa nyuma ya stage, but go ahead, Randall.
You do that. I'm kind of bamboozled by the whole thing. When we're talking about oil, the last time I remember with the previous president, oil was found, I believe, in Turkana. When this oil was found in Turkana, I was like, oh, that's a good thing. That's good. That should be taxed in terms of like it being taxed for the people of Kenya themselves to get dividends in terms of their income, not only through tourism, but also raw material and also oil. So oil was a good sign to see that now Kenya can prosper, Kenyans themselves can prosper from that oil. But nothing happened. It just went silent and nothing was heard about it. Now we're hearing there was deals about Nigeria taking on the contract. There was also a deal about the Arab Emirates taking the deal so they can do the contract to basically to construct on the Turkana oil fields that was found at the time. The people that lived on the land was kicked off, which I found really unfair by the Kenyan government. I don't know if they got a place to live or they were given somewhere else to vacate to. So that was questionable to me. So that was really strange. But I knew there was two things. Finding oil was a good thing for Kenya. But the second thing, oil comes with a lot of aggression and a lot of greed. So we're talking money, politician, corruption, violence, as we have seen in Middle East. There's been so much violence. We've seen the same thing happen in Nigeria, which is like one of the top 10 providers of oil. within the continent of Africa. Worldwide is like one of the top providers of oil. So it should be the closest to Middle East when it comes to like being most prosperous. If they took that oil and actually sold it and used the benefit of the dividends to actually benefit the Nigerian people and construct Nigeria, Nigeria will be as forward as much as Dubai or Middle East or other countries that have oil. But that never happened. But corruption is what took it over, and greed. And then it brought war. Then you had terrorism. I don't want to go into it, but they had the ISIS rise up. Outside politics influencing it by bringing war. War brings confusion. When it brings confusion, other people infiltrate and they kind of enter into the country and they start taking out all the valuables while we are just scrambling for the smallest of things, which is really sad. The idea of importing and exporting food from Kenya is questionable because we live on the equator, one of the most fertile lands. You know, we have the most fertile land within central of Africa. So it's never too hot, it's never too cold. It doesn't rain too much. And and it's, you know, it's just right. So we should be able to be consistently and persistently making a harvest from food. So Africa, especially Kenya, should be the last place should be looked at as people are starving or people are hungry or they have a problem with food. Food is the last thing. And our last debate I did talk and I said there's three things. I'm not a politician, but I think they should be on the forefront of any politician. Should be 1, food, 2, water, and 3, obviously, somewhere that people can reside. Because when you have a home and you have a place to stay and you have a stable place, you can move around. You always have someone to come and lay your head or someone can come and find you and you can build from there on. So the idea of this levy that we was talking about last time and we was talking about building costly homes was a good idea. But now looking at it, maybe it was just noise. Because sometimes, you know, politicians tell us what we want to hear, but when they get into power, all that completely changes. So when it comes to this oil, when it comes to this oil, basically us bringing oil into the country, I don't understand where that's coming from. Food, us getting food from outside, such as Uganda and Tanzania, don't understand how this working. When we have our own stuff, our own home, like we should be able to do it. That's basically what I can say. So as we go along, hopefully I'll be able to kind of get more information and work with you towards finding a solution and maybe getting an answer at the end of the day with the people that who are watching our 24-hour, free 24 hours. So it'd be nice to have people interact with us, give us opinion and also points of view that maybe we can build on together. But we're here anyway, so it's a good start anyway. You know, it's a step forward. That's what I like to say, really. So I'll leave it to Leo. I don't know. Leo,
Thank you, Randall. Actually, most Kenyans have been shocked because this is a plan that was supposed to help in reducing the cost of living. And remember, when it came to the cost of living, well, you'll find that the government had to talk of so many things. It was not only about the cost of unga. I know majority of Kenyans really got disappointed that when people speak of the cost of living, people are majorly concentrating on the cost of maize flour. Yet we know there are some parts of the country that do not even know how to prepare ugali. So they have some other meals. Some are using rice. There are some from the northeastern part who depend on the anjero. And there are some who also depend on a different kind of food. So it was unfair if you just want to address the price of maize flour, of which the Kenya Kwanza government promised that they are going to do that by giving people fertilizers. So now the issue or the question that people are raising on things like the edible oil, the cooking oil, the government said that they are going to do away with the cartels, and they claim that the cartels, who turns out not to be cartels, but these are the local manufacturers. Ever since I was born, I've been privy to these companies like Bidco. We've been hearing of Bidco oil, we've been hearing of Kappa oil, and this Pwani oil, these other companies. So they are companies that have lived with us, they've employed us. So the government decided that they're going to import some duty-free. So duty-free, in that it means that the government itself lost a lot of revenue because this oil was brought, no taxes were paid, at the expense of denying the local manufacturers an opportunity. And had the local manufacturers brought this oil, you'll find that they would have been subjected to some duty that would have earned us some revenue. And if you look at this in the wider, maybe a perspective, you'll find that this one can also be some of the factors that are leading to the weakening of the Kenyan shillings. Because once you allow things to be imported without any duty paid on it, then it means you are going to lose that form of currency or the foreign exchange there. So apart from that, the painful part of it is that our own Kenya Bureau of Standards found out that they are not fit for consumption. So meaning they'll either have to be destroyed or they'll either have to be brought back, but money had already been spent. So the question that Kenyans are asking out there is who is going to pay for these losses? Because the Anti-Corruption Commission have already discovered that the amount that is being said is 16 billion, but they are projecting that amount that has been lost is more than the 16 billion that the government is talking about. So that's the situation that we are in, and we are also looking at various promises or various things that are leading to the economy to ail. So it tells you that there's a lot that is happening behind the scene that most Kenyans are not privy to. There are so many things that are happening as we are singing Unga Unga, and of course we are also going to discuss something to do with the referendum. And today you heard Gerard Gay saying that there is no referendum. And a section of Azimio insists that the only solution is that we subject this report or we have a referendum so that the people can be able to decide. While the Kenya Kwanza side, being led by William Ruto, already endorsed the recommendation and gave it a green light and said that this thing should go to the parliament. So the question that we're also going to ask our viewers is, do you think the referendum is the solution of the parliament? In other words, you'll find that the Azimio side, it seems they've lost hope in parliament. They no longer trust the parliament. And the question that maybe our viewers are also going to help us understand, how is Azimio not trusting parliament, yet they also have members in the said parliament? So those are among the things that we're going to discuss today. The issue of referendum, is there going to be referendum? Is it a genuine referendum, or it is just a referendum that is going to be used to measure some political strengths or people to try and see measure their popularity? We know very well how referendums have been used in this country and how they've shaped the incoming elections. That is starting with what happened in 2005, 2010, and so on and so forth until 2022, when William Ruto and his group vehemently opposed referendum, knowing very well it was a test to go and test their popularity and shape the 2022 elections. And of course, we will also not end our debate without looking at what is happening in Uasin Gishu. There have been a lot of news coming from Eldoret. Number one, there is this Eldoret Rescue Center. We are going to see there are so many complaints of people being humiliated there physically. And these are people who are supposed to be undergoing through rehabilitation, but some of them are even being defiled with some allegations of even sexual defilement. And of course, even when it comes to a trade, there is some complaint that a section of Kenyans in Uasin Gishu are really being discriminated as far as the trading opportunities are concerned. They're getting harassed. So all this we are going to discuss. We just want to appreciate those people who joined us live, and we also want to encourage you to keep on joining, keep on subscribing, liking, and sharing. You not only stand a chance to be informed when we go live so that you can be able to give your opinion, but you also stand a chance of getting away with the Christmas gift hampers that we're going to give. We are going to give lots of gifts. This is the month of sharing love. So as Afrique24 TV, as we are going to share love, we only share love with the family. And how do you become a family? You become a family of Afrique24 by subscribing, liking, and sharing. You not only stand a chance to be informed when we go live so that you can be able to give your opinion, but you also stand a chance of getting away with the Christmas gift hampers that we're going to give. We are going to give lots of gifts. This is the month of sharing love. So as Afrique24 TV, as we are going to share love, we only share love with the family. And how do you become a family? You become a family of Afrique24 liking, and sharing. I can see Kenyan Revolutionary joining us. This is a leader of rebel, though I don't know what he is rebelling against. So you'll be able to tell us what he's rebelling against. So karibu sana, the Kenyan Revolutionary, and you tell us how it is wherever you are. Then uguzie kidogo hii mambo ya mafuta. Has Kenya lost some money, or this was also another scheme or another plan for the government to be able to milk the already dying Kenyans? Karibu sana.
Asante Leo, I see you are very friendly today, lakini mangumi itakuja baadaye. Can you hear me, by the way? Can you hear me? Okay. Anyway, regarding this edible oil, these are side shows. Jakes, if you remember, almost a year ago, I used to come here and tell you that Ruto is a colonial puppet. I used to tell you that for you to get to IMF, sign up in this loan, you saw him, he went to, is it Dubai or somewhere, and he secured, I don't know, 1 point something billion on carbon credit nonsense. And carbon credit stuff is a sham. In fact, I'll make a video of it. It's a sham. It's it's a way of controlling governments. You give up your sovereignty. Now you see we'll have to give up amount of land that will be used for carbon credits nonsense, but really they will be doing their own thing. I had a book, listen, you know, I know your channel is giving people things for free. I'll give out this book to anyone for free if you subscribe to my channel. For free, read it. The New Confession of an Economic Hitman. This is a man whose name is John Perkins. He used to work for CIA, and he worked for World Bank and IMF, and describes how they used to control nations, especially these emerging economies, whether it's Africa or South America. And he describes very well how they used to control these parastatals that you hear, that privatization law that has been going on in Kenya. You know, this is coming from IMF. They take over your economy. And when I used to say that, people would come and say, you're a conspiracy theorist. Talk up on easy conspiracies. Now you're seeing what's happening. And Ruto has no power. I told you, Ruto is a puppet, just like Uhuru Kenyatta. And what's his name before him? Kibaki. And Moi. Moi was illiterate, didn't even know what was happening. Yeah? And what's his name? Jomo. Jomo was actually an agent for the British intelligence. That man never did one day in Sijui Wapi Kapenguria that you used to hear. He was ambushed in London. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is this in summation. We are now seeing, and Kenyans, their eyes are being opened, seeing how these international powers are actually taking over our government. The seeds, you heard about the seeds. Bill Gates, you know Bill Gates will be hanged. But anyway, I just want to say this. You see how these international corporations, and these corporations, they actually are the ones who they work hand in hand with the World Bank and IMF, because those are the guys who decide which companies should operate where, which country, and which facet of your economy that they should control. Okay, that's why you see we are struggling with this thing of feeds, and we're struggling with this issue of what do you call it? Anyway, I'm all over. Another issue also that we're not addressing. I mentioned the other day that there are 28 foreign corporations that are in Kenya, operating in Kenya, paying zero taxes. Why? Because we have economic free zones. The economic free zones is part of this deal. I say these things, but a year later, you guys will come here and say, why are these companies are not working? I told you about Ruto and the IMF. So all this oil thing about this oil edible nonsense, whatever, hiyo ni pesa ndogo ambayo wakina Moses Kuria wanakula hapa na pale. Because even in this book, he mentions that they give you money. IMF actually pledged to give Kenya $1.8 billion in the next, I don't know, 1 year or whatever, 5 years. Okay? And this money, they know that Ruto will be spending most of it. It hasn't been approved by the parliament, by the way, because our constitution says any money that we borrow, it should be only for development, and it should be approved by the parliament. But none of it have been approved for parliament. That's why it's illegal, and that's why when Wakina Okiya Mtata was saying let's edit this money that we owe inaitwaje, the debt that we have, Wakina Kimani Ichung'wah, who have been waxing lyrical about sijui ile pesa wakina Uhuru wanakula, said no, we should not do this. Why? Because they're puppets. So in short, I'm telling you this: there's a bigger power that's controlling our leaders. Stop looking at Raila for nini. Raila, ukiona hiyo tumbo yake, he cares about himself. Anataka nini hata yeye pia apate carpet, apate. Raila is an old man. You know, if you work with old men, you'll realize that old men want to feel young. They want to feel busy. They want to be busy running around doing nothing, okay? And I'm glad Martha Karua is speaking out against the Neo, even though she's corrupt. She's also hopeless. She's speaking up against the NADCO. I know I'm all over, but let me summarize by saying this. Hii mambo ya edible oil is just a sideshow. Hizi mambo ya oil sijui by Njeri is a sideshow. Look at what is happening in Burkina Faso. Do you know what's happening with these three countries? Burkina Faso, Mali, and what's the third one? Niger. They are going to create their own bank. You know, they're doing something that will liberate the whole of Africa. Okay? Go. In fact, I will read it to you next, Nino, so I can get the right information. They want to have their own currency, something that got Gaddafi killed. Okay, number one, they secured. The thing they did, they kicked out IMF, they kicked out World Bank, they kicked out the US, they kicked out the French, and now they want to secure their currency, and they want to back it with gold, and they want to have their own version of their financial institution where they regulate their money. If you're pinging your money against the dollar is useless, it's worthless. It's not backed by anything. But most of us don't know. The Federal Reserve is not an American bank. It's an international bank. Even the Americans don't know. But these are the things that we should know. But anyway, let's look at these three countries: Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. They are doing something that will liberate Africa. Look at the news. So I know I've been summarizing. African, when you say summarizing, the manisha tutaenda sentence kumi. But all in all, I'm saying this. What can we do as wananchi? We are talking here. Let's start holding these people accountable. We have the constitution. Wanataka kuchange constitution. Why? And why they can't even implement the current constitution. Let's hold them accountable. These Azimio, Kenya Kwanza, nonsense tunajiita sijui together. Let's stop this nonsense. Call your local MP. If he's not advancing our interest, tumtoe kwa kiti. Okay? That's how you get them. And let them follow the law. Wale watu walikula pesa in the previous government, in the current government, in the previous government, hang them to death. Without that, tutacheza mchezo tunajiita tugege Kenya Kwanza sijui nini and all these kind of side shows. But anyway, that's my first submission. I'll let everybody else talk. Thank you.
Oh, nangojea Leo na ningojea, but I love the submissions anyway.
I don't want to comment. I allow you to move before I comment.
No, Jake, let him comment. I want Leo's. Leo mpaka tuchapane kidogo. Leo, go ahead.
I really agree with his submission. The only thing is that he doesn't believe in anybody. He doesn't believe in any solution. He doesn't believe in anything. And
Okay.
so far, that
Now
is
let
why
me
you
let
tell
me let
you,
me let me let me
you
ask
will
you some
disagree with
questions.
Uhuru,
Would
disagree with
you
Ruto,
allow me to ask
disagree
you
with
some
Raila,
questions?
and
Now,
everybody, including himself. So the question that I want to put to Kenyan revolutionary, what is the way forward? Because out of the people that we've mandated, we've given mandate maybe to try and create some solutions, are you telling us that they are not going to do anything? You don't see them, you don't have any hope in them maybe changing their ways or doing things differently. So what we do advise Kenyans, because you've said we don't need a referendum, that is number one. William Ruto is not doing the right thing. The opposition or the ones who are supposed to be the government in waiting is also not ready to do the right thing. So what is our fate? Should we just lose hope like that and stare and wait for our death?
Good question. That's why I was saying, Leo, that hii kitu inaanza to the people. The constitution says we the people have the sovereign power, and we donated this power, delegated this power to the MPs, to the executive, to the judiciary. Okay. So what I'm saying is this: we should take back the power. How do we do that? This starts by holding our local MPs. Hao watu wanaenda kwa Ruto every day wanatafuta pesa ati sijui we want development in our place. Hao ma MP wanaenda kwa Raila sijui nini. No. We as the people, and unfortunately is that most of us, we the people who have that power, sovereign power, we are ignorant. We don't know that we have this power. That's why I bring you back to the debate I was having with Mato the other day. Mato anasema he kept on telling me sijui, Ruto sijui nini. And I told him, no, listen. Stop complaining about this mambo ya sijui flooding. What did your governor do? He has money. He should be having to help in case of any emergency. So what I'm trying to say is this in Leo, this is the way forward. I know you asked this, you want a specific. Here it is. Holding your representative. The most important person in your constituency is your member of parliament. Because he's the person who will go to the legislative body where all the representatives meet and they advance your interest. If you're from Kamagambo East, Tarakaniti, or Kajiado, whatever the case is, your MP, what do the people of Kajiado want? I like what Wamuchomba did. That's why I keep on giving this example. When the finance bill was being passed, and she was UDA, she went to a constituency, akawauliza, mnaonaje hii kitu? And they say we don't want it. And she was UDA, I think, if I'm not wrong. And she went back and voted against it. Remember, the UDA people were threatening their MPs that mpaka mpitishe hii kitu. And she said, no, I went and did my public participation. Watu wakaniambia hawataki hii kitu. And I'm voting according to what the people on my constitution who gave me this authority to represent them told me to do. And she voted against it. That's how democracy should work. But the problem is, we, the people, we elect these people, we elect these MPs, and we mistake them for leaders. These people are not leaders. We just gave them that power so they can go to the and make laws that will benefit us. So that's the first step. Hold these people accountable and educate yourself on the constitution, because most of these people, they break the law. Our wakina Ruto, Murkomen, how much money have they stolen? Look at Uhuru Kenyatta government, Kibaki government. They've gotten away with billions and trillions, but they're not held accountable. The constitution is very clear, 225, Article 225(9). Mtu ambaye misappropriate pesa anafaa kulipa in his capacity as an individual. Si ati sisi tutalipa hiyo pesa. Kama aliba hiyo 20 billion, alipe. But we are not doing that. Nobody is outraged. Hao watu wanakuja wanatuambia ati wanatufinyilia, sisi watu wa Embu tunafinyiliwa. Na mnapiga makofi. So let's educate ourselves on the power which we hold. That's the way to go. But if you don't know the power that you possess, then now watu watakuja wanaenjoy. Raila Odinga will come here and say, let's go and sijui tuangalie election. Election ilishaisha. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Learn about the constitution, the power that you have by learning the laws that you have and the power that you possess. Then hold your representatives responsible. Am I clear?
That is loud and clear. And this is Afrique 24. We encourage such kind of open-mindedness. We are here to give solutions. We are not here to lament. As we are lamenting, we are also here to provide solutions. We are here to tell the government that despite the fact that we elected them to go and represent us, it doesn't mean they were the only people who can do that role. We are here to tell them that they are just among the few that were chosen to go and represent our interest, and that one should not enable them to go there and start representing their interests. So as I just welcome my colleague Jack, so that we can continue this conversation on what you've said of recalling these MPs and ensure that they speak on our behalf, there's something that is coming up when it comes to these colleagues, and majority of them are voted on political parties. And you know, when they are voted on political parties, each and every political party do have interest that is at the party level, and they do have what is called the party stand. And that is why when you go to parliament, we have the majority whip and the minority. They don't whip based on what mwananchi wa kawaida is saying down there, but they whip based on what interest is serving the parties. And they shamefully tell us that if you belong to a party, you have to serve the interest of the party and take the party stand. So does it mean that we need to start by telling our people to join these parties and speak their minds and own these parties? Because when they reach parliament, it is the party's interest. I just want to play for you this video. It happened in ODM, in Azimio. It started with Jubilee, and we had some rebels. We had it in ODM, and now it has moved to Kenya Kwanza. That is Jubilee.
ODM is a criminal organization.
The same approach done by ODM is the same approach that is being done by UDA. So that one tells you all these political parties are the same. So where is our take as citizens? So as I welcome Jex, let us listen to this a minute.
I agree with the Secretary General. It's been a bit concerning when we see our members taking to the podiums and actually going against party positions. You know, when I was fired myself by the then President Uhuru Kenyatta from being the chief whip of the Senate, deep in my heart, I knew he was right. Do you know why I knew he was right? There is no way I could have been his whip as the whip of the party, the government party. And I truly, in my heart, disagreed with the positions he had taken. So the right thing to do is either resign or be fired, right? So even here, you cannot be a UDA or Kenya Kwanza party member, positions maybe elected, nominated, or whatever, and then take the podium and go against the party leader or the party positions. That is unacceptable. So
back to you, Jex. You've heard it. There is a party position and the position of the party leader.
Can I make a quick comment before Jex? Or am I too much?
Go ahead.
If you want to call this a democracy, it gives space for everyone to express themselves. Leo, we are sitting here at Mutembei. I'm glad this is not like the other channel where if I don't agree with you, whether you like ODM or not, I have to kick you out. No, I have to listen to what you have to say, then we can debate, agree or disagree. Now, let us get to that context, the party thing. And let's use the Jalas as an example. With ODM, where they went and met the President Ruto, who at that time, Raila didn't want to recognize him as the President of the Republic of Kenya. So, according to Raila, that was a violation. He wasn't adhering to the party, party constitution, whatever the case is, the party's stance, okay? Now, the constitution, the law, Political Parties Act, and even these parties, they have a constitution, whether if somebody violates one of the policies or rules of law of the party, there's a hierarchy in which this can be taken care of. And if there's a disagreement, if they want to kick him out and the member feels that, because the disputation between Jalas and ODM was saying that Jalas and the rest who went and met the president, they were deemed to have left the party because they went to meet the president without the approval of the party hierarchical order, okay? And they defended themselves through Nelson Harvey, who actually posted it yesterday or the day before yesterday. And it was ruled to be null and void because just because you disagree with your party leader does not mean that you actually have left the party. You can disagree on any issue, just like Wamuchomba. I gave you the example. She agreed. She was at odds with the party stance. Remember, UDA was whipping their MPs to vote for this finance bill, and she went to her constituency, as it is required by the Constitution, had a public participation as it is required in Article 118, and she came back and said, "My people don't want this finance bill," and she was at odds with Ruto and the party organs. They did not take her to the courts because they understood that she followed the rules, even though she disagreed with the party leadership and the whip, the party leadership. So it was not even a matter that was worth taking to the courts. But Azimio, on the other side, which is a dictatorship led by Raila Odinga, they tried to intimidate their MPs because they simply went and met the President Ruto. And they wasted time going to the courts, and they won. Jalas won. It's still ODM. So what I'm saying is this, in short: Kihika is a lobotomized parrot. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's there just because of whatever. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is this: disagreement within party members and the party hierarchy does not constitute one being against the party. I can be an ODM member but not agree on some issues that ODM advocates. Anyway, that's it. Sorry, I'm taking too long. I'm kind of talking too much.
Okay, allow me to ask you, Mr. Leo, do you agree with Kenya Rebel, where he says that Azimio probably is not fully performing its duties and all, and that's why he's bringing out all this? I don't know if you have heard from the news today that Azimio has taken the government to court, of course, suing it for the issues of privatization of public utilities and facilities and everything else. Now, and of course, the High Court, through Justice Majanja, has issued a stay order, or rather has stopped the privatization of the same. Now, when you read this High Court ruling at the moment, this is ODM as a participant. Now, when you listen to Raila Odinga the other day, he said that he does not trust Parliament for several reasons. That even before a debate takes place, the best thing they do, especially Kenya Kwanza-led faction, they say, put the question, basically saying there's no much debate happening in Parliament. So even if what Kenya Rebel is bringing out was to be tabled in Parliament, Kenya Kwanza will still carry the day. They will not allow any debate. They will harass the speaker and ask the speaker, put the question. They would boo the minority side. So by the end of the day, Azimio, I think they have now chosen to be going to the courts to do what they have now chosen to be doing. You see, you've seen from that court order what the chief justice, the magistrate or the High Court judge was able to come up with. Is it, my questions now, is it the new way of Azimio doing their thing? And is it one way you may say that Azimio is trying despite the failed Parliament?
Okay, what I'll say is this: I can't say that Azimio have failed to perform their duties, but I'll say that the Parliament in general has failed Kenyans. Because when you go to Parliament, we have members that are from different coalitions and different political parties. And the main role of Parliament is to oversight the executive. So I was so surprised today. I listened to Gerard Gay, and he was saying that let the Azimio do their role of oversight. And I asked myself, is he speaking as a governor, or is he speaking as a president, or is he speaking as a magistrate? Because when you see a senator who's been elected forgets that he's part of legislature, and the role of legislature, apart from making and amending laws, is to oversight the national government and the county government, that is the Senate oversighting the county governments and the National Assembly oversighting the national government, telling you that a specific group are the ones who are mandated to oversight, then it tells you that the parliament has lost direction. So the people who are suffering are the citizens. So in parliament, there is a game of numbers. And I don't think the constitution defines that in parliament, there should be a competition of numbers. But the constitution defines all members of parliament, they have similar role. So the only thing that can happen is that they can agree or disagree on issues that is being debatable, irrespective of who has initiated that debate, irrespective of who brought that bill. So they can either agree or disagree. That is why somebody will give it to Amuchomba when she decides to go against the grain and vote down that bill. But what you'll find that the culture that have been planted in our parliament, there's a precedence that had been set, not by this government, by the previous governments have set a precedence that in parliament you need to have numbers, and it is the numbers that speak. When I was young, when I used to watch the parliament live through the KBC Channel 1, I would rarely listen to this thing, let us put the question, people are taking vote. This is something that came within the Jubilee government. That is when we started hearing of, oh, we are having numbers. I don't know, something like that. People are saying, I'm voting yes. During that coalition government, actually, you'll find that the ODM party had the majority in that parliament. But there are so many bills that were brought by the Kibaki men and they passed. I never had, I don't want to say voting wasn't there. Voting was there, but it wasn't that shouting like today. When a bill is taken to parliament, every Kenyan will be waiting for the time for people to take a vote. And even the ones who are sick on the sick beds will take votes online. So that is the thing that is failing this country. MPs have failed. So I have to give it to Azimio. After realizing that the parliament is failing because numbers are there and they don't have numbers actually. So they thought otherwise, that we have the judiciary, we have legislature, and we have executive. Now, if executive can't listen to us, the parliament can't give us an opportunity to be heard, then what next? Let us go to the judiciary. So the only hope that we Kenyans are having is judiciary. And if something can happen to the judiciary, then I can tell you we are left on our own, just to depend on God only.
Okay. Now, if I may ask you a question, Bwana Randall, Azimio seems to be going to court right now to challenge some of the things they don't agree with from this regime. At what point do you think they will engage Parliament? Because that is the constituted law making body in Kenya. At what point will they use Parliament? Because I think if as well because they equally have some numbers, if they can marshal up their numbers to, to fight the government, to fight some laws, some changes, some decrees from the president, when do you think Azimio, or how do you wish Azimio to go about it, especially using Parliament? Because the court can only give a stay order. The court can only give some rulings, can of course give some execution. But if the government is really up to it to push some of these things through the thorax, it will just do it, So how can we come out, as Azimio, as Kenya Kwanza, through Parliament, to make sure that there are laws either passed or being proposed in Parliament that will, of course, see to it that this government does not misbehave. We don't end up losing parastatals and organization to scrupulous and corrupt people who have the wherewithal to buy these institutions or these buildings or these parastatals and all. How will Mwananchi be protected from government and its excesses?
Jake, thanks for asking me that. Since this show started, with the four of us, the three of us, four of us, and Kenya Rebel just entered just now. um, find it hilarious the sarcastic comment from Leo saying there is no way you're betting against. Hilarious. But as well, I would say myself that ignorance is bliss. You know, thanks for those that are. Some of us can't help being ignorant. We just can't do it. It's not in our nature. So, but me, I agree with Rebel, Kenyan Rebel, and saying that I have lost faith, and I think I've lost faith long time ago with not only Kenya but Africa as a country, with Africa as a continent. And not only talking about Kenya Kwanza, the UDA and Ruto's government and this government. I'm like, you know what? I don't know about Ruto's government, but I do know it's the people's government. Full stop. The constitution needs to be followed, but nobody cares about that. The corruption is rampant and in front of your face, and the lies are this perpetuate, continuously just telling us the same lie. And it gets to a point, even the Bible says God does not listen to nonsense. So you kind of get to a point, you know, nonsense is nonsense. I'm just going to keep on moving and find something more productive to work with. So my reply is that Kenyan Kwanza, Raila, any government or any organization that's in Kenya right now trying to sow Kenya out. I think Kenya is so deep in so much that I don't even know where you're going to start, where to start, when to finish. Even though that, I'm already based, as I said, as a Pan-African, already on an African level, or basically like looking at as an African continent, being here in Europe and with other Pan-African organizations that I find myself affiliated to. That it's just been, as Kenya Rebel just said, that a lot of people that we have are puppets. They're puppets. They look like us, they talk like us, they come from our background, they know a lot about us, but they have no interest for our own good. They're only there for their own and their master. Simple as that. And starting with that, I was on a Pan-African, which is Jewish man or movement that's going on right now, Pan-African movement. And there was a debate concerning United Nations need to do something about it. And for me, the United Nations, I mean African Union. And I said to them, you know, it's not being funny. If Africa has a situation and we have to look at the African Union to sort out situations and our problem out, that's a waste of time. You're just basically running straight into the hands of your enemy. Yes, African Union is in Africa. Yes, African Union is supposed to stand for Africans. But then I question them and I ask them, like, do you know the languages that are spoken in the African Union? The 5 main languages that are spoken in African Union, in Africa. If I told you about African Union, like, European Union, they talk European. And within their own constitution, within their own government or the organization that they have for the European Union or the Arabic Union, they speak in their own tongue. So I went and I researched, which I found out was last year, talking to someone, and he said, do you know what language they speak in the European Union and the African Union? 5 main languages. Number 1 being English. Pre-colonial, again, right? Secondly, Arabic, again, colonial. Thirdly, Portuguese, which you know what very well from long time ago. We have that history. 4th language, French, which Mali and these other countries that are fighting in West Africa, which Kenya Rebel just replied to you and mentioned to you, this is taking place. And that's the thing we're looking at, like, you know what, this puppet needs to be taken down, knowing that we need to get all these people out to play. So African Union speaks these 4 languages, and the 5th one is Swahili. And that's someone said, oh, Swahili is native, it's African. I said, nah, apparently if you done your research, you research properly and know your history, Swahili came about because of the trading between the Middle East and also Africa during the time they used to speak Arab. So what they did, they mixed the Bantu language with the Arabic language. So it's basically to cater for the Arabic. for them to be able to enter into Africa and move out of Africa and also for trading reasons, even though they had the Arabic language. Looking on that point, me myself standing here, I remember like 6 years ago, I said, it's funny that in a curriculum, my child can learn French, my child can learn Italian, my child can learn Mandarin, but within the curriculum of my education in Europe, there is no African language. My child cannot speak the Yoruba language. My child cannot speak a Hausa language. My child has no right to choose it to speak Shanti language or Zulu language or Swahili or Kikuyu or any language that's based in Africa. All of it has to be based in Europe. Why? Why is it? So when you're asking this, I kind of, directed myself way out of the whole I'm putting the whole continent of Africa into it. Going back into the box of Kenya itself, looking at it, I mean, I don't know what Azimio are gonna do. Kenya Kwanza, what approach they're gonna approach, the parliament with. If there's any faith in us having any faith in like actually having something change. For 5 years to the next, I don't know, 10 years, looking at it right now, I don't know where we're headed. But I do salute places like Tanzania, where tribalism is out the window. They found their own language, which is Swahili, which they speak, which is the main common language there. That's a start. Tribalism is out the window. And there's a kind of getting together and kind of trying to get rid of corruption. So it's possible. It's not saying it's impossible. But Kenya is just next door. And it's embarrassing. People used to point at Uganda. Now Kenya's got to look at itself. Like, where are you standing now? And again, if we voted this person and we put this person in position as Kenyan government, as Kenyan citizens, we have the right to remove him. You employ someone who does not do a good job, you have the right to fire him. So he has 5 years, either that or find him to stand down. But then if he does, who are you going to back? Who are you going to put in his place? Is there anybody right now in Kenya like this is a patriot? This person's for Kenya, such as Malian or the West African president stepping out and saying, you know what, all the ambassadors of Germany leave our country. All these ambassadors from France leave our country. When are we going to make a stance? And we need vibrant, young, fired up, ready to go, young ladies or men or gentlemen within this day and time. So, there's a mentality that we can't have women leading us in our country now. Oh, having a Kenyan women president is out of, nobody has that concept. That's crazy. All that is going to go out the window. Because we've seen great leaders that are females. For me, I believe that a female grows you up to show you how to walk, how to dress, how to help yourself out in terms of going to the toilet and so on, teach you how to talk and walk, but cannot be a leader in a country. Like, really. But once you became a man, now you decide to tell a woman where she belongs, where she doesn't belong, when she showed you how to walk and talk and to do the things that you do. Then you disgrace your own mother and disgrace females as a whole aspect because you're a big guy. If it wasn't for them in the first place, you wouldn't be the man that you are today. So they can be motherly, and yes, they do have a maternal way of dealing with situations more than us who are masculine. We rule with masculinity, like power, law, govern. This is what we do. But sometimes we need that feminine side to balance it, where we have that maternal understanding that we can't have people sleeping hungry. We can't have children suffering. For men's like, oh, man's got to be a man. No. So the woman's like, people got to eat before we sit down and talk about things. Let's eat first. So for me, I have no faith in this, I'll be honest. And I don't know where we're going, but I've been very patient since the election took place. As we're standing right now, where the future is heading, I do not know. Because if Kenya is waiting for Raila to become the president, how long is he going to stand up for a president? He's got a short period of time. Can he keep up with the what's up? Can he keep up with the Instagram? Can he keep up with the Twitter? Can he keep up with the TikTok? Can Ryla keep up with the Facebook? Can he keep up with you know, the technologies that are moving today? We need a 35 to 40-year-old young man such as Leo right here sitting down. You have all these going on, and that's how you communicate with people. And this is the new development that we're having up to today. We need to compete with the world, not be behind the world in a wheelchair, being pushed along. So I'll be honest when I say I don't see it going nowhere. This man has Kenya in a headlock. From where I'm sitting, Kenya is in a headlock. And the shocking thing I hear now, if you're going to have any animal farms, you must have license for them. If you don't have a license to have a cow, a chicken, or anything in Africa, which is a farming tradition which we have, it's our usual cash crops. You are affecting everything. You're a bad disease, you're worse than a cancer. That's what I like to say.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you. Thank you. Kenyan Revolution, I'm coming to you, and I just want to play a certain video. It's about referendum. You said, you know, we the people, the power belongs to the people, and this power we can exercise it directly or through the people that we maybe elect to go and represent us. So Kenya's got an option of either the participatory democracy or representative democracy. But majorly, people have maybe programmed their mind to think that we can only practice representative democracy, that once you elect an MP, you have to wait up to maybe 5 years is when you make another decision. So there's this proposal majorly coming from the Azimio, who I think, number one, they've lost hope in the parliament, that is both National Assembly and the Senate. They only have hope maybe in the judiciary, of which they're not that sure with the judiciary. So they only think that the people who can maybe make the right decision right now is the people. And they're saying that these, okay, we appointed the senior councils like Kalonzo to go and represent us there and make some decisions. But again, we are not sure if the parliament will make the right decision, so we want a referendum. So I want you to listen to this response from the Kenyan Kwanza faction, and you tell me, in your honest opinion, do we really need a referendum? Or will a referendum give citizens an opportunity to speak and maybe to correct their mistakes? And in that, we also need to look at what are some of the expenses that we are going to incur when we go through a referendum. So just listen to Gerald Gay.
Kuhusu mambo ya national dialogue, ile watu walikuwa wanakunywa chai na mandazi pale Bomas, tulisema mambo ya cost of living we can agree. Na nataka nishukuru rais, bei ya mahindi ni 4,000 baba as we talk. Mahindi moja bei imeshuka 130 140 per tin. That is how to bring cost of living down. You subsidize production over consumption, and that is what we want to see in terms of going in the future. Nimeona hii mambo ya NADOC hii ya Bomas ilikuwa, na nimesikia jirani yetu Raila anasema hii mambo. Nataka nimuulize rais, hii si wakati ya referendum? Hatutaki kwenda uchaguzi, si tumetoka uchaguzi juzi. Mnataka kwenda referendum kufanya nini sasa? Si hakuna haja, si ndio? Kwa sababu anataka kujipanga for 2027. Lakini nataka nimuulize rais asikubalia watu twende referendum. Sai the country is in problems economically. We cannot go to a referendum now. And in any case, we don't have a functional IBC in place. So hatuna IBC, unaendaje? Let us fix the cost of living. Tuachana mambo ya referendum kwanza na ile mambo ya siasa kwanza. Let us fix the cost of living. Wananchi wapate nafasi so that we can be. And I want to tell the country from Nandi, as the leader of this region, that as a country, let us focus on more important issues. Mambo ya referendum na kujipanga na wale wenzetu waendelee kufanya oversight kwa serikali, lakini wasitumie hiyo njia ya bipartisan to try and sneak into the government. Let us have opposition and have government, because they know the ultimate agenda is for them to sneak into the government. Nimeongea na chief wa hii town na Nandi. What chiefs are telling me, father, Wakileta ule watu wameuza pombe mbaya, wanakuja kuachiliwa hapa kwa police station. Si ni ukweli? So machief hawana makosa, wanaleta mtu kwa police station na evidence ya pombe mbaya, anawaachiliwa. Huyo mtu anatoka anaenda kutisha chief, anamwambia si ulinichukua, si unaona nimerudi, na anaendelea kuharibu vijana wetu. We will not agree, we will not proceed as a society. So chief na nini wanafanya kazi nzuri, na nataka niulize judiciary pia wawache mtu ameshikwa na pombe ambaye inaua mtu, unaenda kupea yeye bail ya 10,000 5,000 shillings, na hiyo mtu anauza pombe ambaye inaua mtu. What are we saying as a nation? I want to ask the judiciary through Chief Justice Martha Koome, you must review the issue of listening of drugs and substance abuse cases in courts of law. Mtu akishikwa na ile pombe mbaya hata apewe fine ya 1 million na afungwe mara moja. Nasikia iko pombe inatoka hapa chini, sitaki niseme ni wapi, badala ya kwenda kupigana hiyo pombe chafu ambayo inaua maisha ya binadamu, unaanza kuja kwa rasi watu ya bodaboda. Siku na pombe mbaya hapa inauzwa, siku na watu wanajulikana wanauza pombe. Mbona polisi wasishike hapa? Mbona wanashika watoto yangu ya bodaboda? And I want to agree with the Deputy President Mr. Rigathi Gachagua ya kwamba kwa chief, OCS na OCPD na County Commission, pombe isipoisha ile mbaya mbaya inaharibu vijana wetu. Kwa sababu pombe haina akili, wewe ndio utaenda. Usipomaliza pombe kwa hiyo kijiji, wewe ndio utaenda, because iko pombe chafu hapa inaua watoto wetu. Ukikunywa hiyo pombe ni mbaya. Ukikutana na mtu asubuhi, mtu ni mwembamba jioni, asubuhi akikunywa pombe anakuja kama amefura. Unashangaa hii mtu amenonaje overnight?
Okay, let me cut it there. You know, that video, if you listen to it, you can draw so many conclusions on it. So I just wanted to get the referendum part of it. And apart from that, there's a lot that has also come. Like there's a Cherargei who is a senator trying to tell us how maybe some disorders should be punished. Pombe Aramu, how these people should be fined 1 million. Now Fungwe. And yet, is that one the real problem that we have in this country? We have people who are doing some evil things that are costing lives and they are walking free. Most of them are MPs, actually. Then again, I don't know, you attack, and you'll also agree with me that the people who are taking your Pombe Aramu, it is because of the economic situation. Nobody would choose to take Changa and leave beer over there. If the only thing that will make them take Changa is because they cannot be able to afford beer. So any sane government should ensure that people's economic status is raised so that they can also be able maybe to take these other better drinks. I know in most countries in Europe, people take alcohol. And some of these countries, I understand that people don't even take more than 2 bottles. Not that they cannot be able to afford, but that discipline comes there. Somebody is so engaged that we think that if I can take like 3 bottles, I'll miss work. But why do you find youths drinking the entire night and even during the day? Because they're idle. They don't have something to engage them. So this is somebody, the only thing they can do is to drink. But somebody who is employed, you want to drink during the day because you have something to do. So I think we are having a country where people are really joking. So Revolutionary, I just want to hear your view on this referendum issue. Is it a solution? Should we have a referendum now, or it's going to be costly? Or it is just maybe because the way Cherargei is speaking and referring to the National Dialogue Committee's report with some disrespect, it tells there wasn't some goodwill in constituting that committee, and it tells those guys what wakukula chai na mandazi, and you know a lot of money, taxpayers' money was used in this meeting. So does it mean that they approved? They are the MPs and the senators approved, yeah, a committee to go and sit, take chai and mandazi. So, and they knew very well these people are not going to come up with anything that is going to help the country. Why were they allowing these people to go and sit in bombers? Yet, in his own opinion, they can sort out this thing without the bombers.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. I like the pombe part of it. Pombe chafu. Anyway, let me get serious. Let me get serious. Leo, we should ask ourselves, why do people have a referendum? A referendum is when we want to change something in the Constitution. What is the Constitution? The Constitution is the contract between, the contract by the people, okay? We as the Kenyan, we identify ourselves as Kenyans, okay? In the borders of Kenya. I will have this discussion later with Randall about Pan-Africanism and my submission with that, because I like what he says, but I'll save him that. Let me just restrict this to Kenya. We Kenyans, we agreed upon the 2010 Constitution, okay? It is a contract that defines how we rule ourselves, okay? How power is distributed, okay? So if there's any change that we want to make in the Constitution, it has to go to the people, okay? That's why we have a plebiscite. Everyone, inapelekwa kwa mashinani everywhere. So everyone can vote. It cannot be done just by the parliament. Of course, the parliament will be the first step. In order to have a referendum, it has to go through the parliament, because the parliament is the legislative body that has our representatives. Then the representatives, they'll argue the case and say, okay, let's pass it. Let's take it to wananchi so they can vote up on it huko mashinani. So everyone who wants to participate will vote yes or no, whether we want to change or stick to the constitution we have. Now, coming back to Cheragei's pronouncements, I agree with him, unfortunately, as far as I abhor his character. He's right. How does changing the constitution, taking it to a referendum, because the reason why we are going to from the NADCO report, if you've read it, Leo, there's some raft of proposals. Part of it is creating these positions, the official opposition, whatever, cabinet, chief cabinet position, the prime minister position, in order for them to be legal in our legal setup, how we rule ourselves. You have to take it to the referendum, because it means we have to amend our constitution for it to be legal, okay? To have that position. That's why we will have a referendum. So Cheragei is saying, why should we have a constitutional change, while the problem that, if you remember, Mr. Leo, the reason why you went to Mandamano was cost of living and what? And electoral justice, right? So should we change the constitution because the cost of living is high? Should we change the constitution because we feel like there's no electoral justice? No, we don't need that. We can change, we can bring down the cost of living. The executive told them, and Raila says this in his speech. I hope you heard his speech. He said the Kenya Kwanza side, they say they will never compromise, because they say that Kenya Kwanza told them that they have the mandate by the people, the administration that wins, the president brings his policies, economic policies, and he implements them, because he has that authority that's given to him by the people. Now, if he fails, that's where the legislative body should come in. That's why I say I disagree with you, Leo, when you say we have no hope, our MPs have let us down. No. This also comes to you, Mwananchi, because who voted for that MP? Who's your local MP, Leo? Answer me that. That is the person that you should go to his office and tell him, hey, what you're doing is bull crap. This is what we want, A, B, C, D, D. Go vote for it. But we don't know that. We look at these people's heroes. Look at Selassie. He's flashing money and having fights with people, goons. I thought he was a rapper. Him, and these are your MPs. He's hanging out with Nuru Okanga. Nothing against Nuru Okanga, but I'm just saying, like, these are the people that we, the voters, that's why I'm saying, unajua democracy, that's why I'm saying we don't understand our power. Let's not sit here and say MPs are not doing anything. The legislative body is useless. It's useless because we let them get away with what they're getting away with. If I was in, I don't know what name where umetoka huku mashinani, Karachuonyo, wherever, Kiambu, I would go to the local MP and tell him, hey, listen, this is what I want you to vote for. This is what our people want. Democracy is, just because you voted that person in, kazi yako haijaisha hapo. Make sure that this MP brings in bills and vote for bills that are beneficial to your constituency. That's what I was saying. So, to Cherengei, we don't need a referendum. We have a functioning constitution that has not been implemented yet. You cannot cure the problem of cost of living by changing the constitution and creating a position for, I don't know, chief cabinet ministers, prime ministers, the opposition of the whatever. That will not bring the cost of living down. Hiyo ni create a cheo ya Raila na Mudavadi na hao watu wengine. Wakishapata hiyo cheo, then what? Your cost of living itaenda chini? No, it won't. So he's right. Then what else? So anyway, the problem, the way you phrase that question, it kind of makes me feel like no offense, it makes me feel like you don't understand why people have referendum. Referendum is only held if we want to change the contract, the social contract that we have as a people, how we are going to govern ourselves. So if they want to create this position of opposition, cabinet minister, whatever, it has to come to the people, and we have a plebiscite, a vote, yes or not, in order to create this position legitimately. It is meant to change the constitution because we have a constitution right now. But again, going back, I hate to sound redundant. We do not need to change the constitution in order for the cost of living to go down. This is something that we can bring down by telling the president, hey, listen, this VAT that you passed, 16%, bring it down. We, the people, want it down right now. Weka subsidies or do whatever you need to do, okay? I don't know if you missed the Nation say that since Ruto took the IMF money, IMF ilimwambia there will be no subsidies, okay? And that's why I keep on telling you. I'll send you Leo, I like you so much. I will send you, give me your address. Come to my channel. I'll send you this personally. I want you to read this book and we'll review it together, okay? Because it will open your eye, understand how it makes you understand why I keep on calling Raila Odinga conman, why I keep on calling Ruto a colonial puppet. It opens your eyes. As far as the alcohol chafu, touche.
No, Cherengei has said kuna pombe chafu. But on my side, I feel that the government in general, whether the local government or the national government, is to be blamed. The reason as to why people consume a lot of some illicit alcohol, some liquor that is harmful to their life. And if you look at the places where this kind of liquor is consumed, it is not because of that person who is making the liquor. That person who is making the liquor is making it because the demand is high. And actually, Kenya, even there's a time they say that, okay, people will be drinking from 5, I don't know, up to midnight, but it doesn't work. There are countries that people drink 24 hours, but people drink responsibly. There are some other things that keep them engaged. But the moment you are not engaged, this person doesn't have money, this person is hopeless. So they tend to go and relieve their stress in some temporary remedies. It's like somebody taking some painkillers, because when they take these painkillers, they don't feel the pain. They're forgetting that immediately the painkillers maybe will get out of their minds or out of their body, then the pain
Leo,
will come back. So they
let
keep
me
on
help.
drinking and they find themselves becoming addicts. Look at the demographics where there's a lot of alcoholic. Go to places like Kiambu. It is not that Kiambu we have people who are poor who cannot afford beer. It is because in Kiambu the population there is high and most of these people are unemployed. So what do? Unaenda mahali eti unaenda kutafuta kazi, amekosa kazi ya mjengo. Akikaa mahali ile 20 bob alibaki nayo ndio amepata mama pima. So I think we just need to keep the youths engaged, create more employment opportunities, then we'll fight alcohol.
Okay. Randall has something to say. Randall, go ahead.
Does Leo drink? Do you drink? Okay.
Who, me? Me?
No, Leo.
Or Leo? Okay.
Leo.
Yes, I do drink, actually. I drink.
Oh, fine. But you know how to control your drinking behavior, don't you?
Actually.
Right. If you're rich or you're poor, does that mean the more money you make, the more drunk you get? The more broke you are, the more you don't drink or the more you drink? I mean, how does that work when it comes to drinking?
Randall.
With income?
Randall.
Yes.
Leo makes me drink.
Yes, I believe you on that one, but Leo, to be honest, on an honest level, I do understand when you say that when you're rich, you live a lifestyle. The more money you have, they say more money, more problems. When you have money, you do things you will not do when you're poor. So ile uko na pesa unaanza kula nyama ya kuku kila siku, unakula nyama ya mbuzi asubuhi for breakfast, unakunywa champagne. Hai bwana. Lakini sasa ile una kitu ada dururu. Ndio hiyo wewe na githeri na usukuma wiki na ugali. Na bado umeshiba bwana. Umeelewa? Sasa kama unaweza kuwa na pesa na bado ukule ugali na sukuma wiki na ushibe, si mambo yao kukuwa na pesa. Sasa when it comes to drinking alcohol, huyo mtu akuwe na pesa, hana pesa, drinking ni kitu chake. Regardless, atakunywa. Akuwe maskini, akuwe mtajiri. Akuwe matajiri ataanza kunywa champagne, John Walker, whiskey, sijui gani. Saizi ako na mado. Lakini sasa ile mado zimekosa. Ndio hiyo sasa kikombe moja mbili, tuteletee jug. Bado atakunywa na lewa. The drinking, the alcohol and the drunkenness does not change. Hakuna alcohol nasema I'm so drunk today better because I drink John Walkers. Leo nimelewa vibaya sababu nilikunywa manini maizi machafu naongea naye. So it's about you when you control mannerism drinking. Go ahead, Kenya Rebel.
I see what Leo was trying to say. Anyway, about it again, what he was saying about ISO local alcohol breweries. You don't have to look at the national government to blame them for drinking. That's something that the local government can take care of. Kama mtu anauza changa hapo kwa kona and pombe chafu that's killing people and it's destroying people's health. Your local government should take care of that. That's not something that you can blame Ruto on. But I do, to some extent, agree with you, Leo, when you say that when the youth are unemployed, they tend to gravitate towards, doing illicit drugs and, they form up gangs now, wanaanza ku extort people. I agree with you on that, to that extent. Yes, unemployment can create, can make youth become, criminals. Kwa sababu wanasema, if I have a degree, siwezi pata job hapo ofisini, then what? I'll start my gang na tutasema ile matatu zinakuja hapa hivi mpaka zilipe 10%. I mean, that's how Mungiki actually made their name. That's how Maina Jenga gets his gang. He had a bunch of youth who did not have jobs. Akawambia, hey, listen, I'm giving you hope here. Sisi, grow some dreadlocks, sisi marasta, watu wanapita hapa mpaka walipe ushuru. So yes, there's an element of truth in that. I agree with you. But you cannot say that, what was you call people in London or New York or whatever the case is, they drink responsibly more than Kenyans. Kuna pia, I mean, there are people there who also don't drink responsibly. You have to anyway. But yeah, I get your point though. Where's Jake?
I think Jax will just find himself back. So kwa wale wanajiunga nasi, tafadhali you have an opportunity to subscribe. And I also just want to remind you that coming this Sunday, kwa wale wamekuwa wakiuliza how can I be able to acquire land in Kenya, then what am I supposed to do so that I don't buy land that after some 5 years or some 10 years when I've just spent all my money inakuja inabomolewa, or you buy a land that then you find that there've been 5 or 10 of you there. So we'll be having an expert here at from 10 p.m. or 2 a.m. American time, who will take us through step by step how to acquire land in Kenya. So ensure that you tune in, you watch, you follow, and you ask questions. You can send questions as early as possible to afrique24tv@gmail.com. Any concern or any area that you would like the expert to touch. This is something that has really been a problem, a thorn in the flesh, specifically to those Kenyans who are in diaspora. You keep on sending money back to your friends and relatives at home, and they tell you they are purchasing land for you. They take you photos of maybe the neighbor's land, only for you to come back thinking that you had an investment back home, and you get disappointed. So to avoid wasting your money or spending your money in fraud, we will get somebody who will give you directions and will take you step by step on what you need to do before you buy land. How do you know that this land is genuine? Which process or which office do you need to go to? So keep it here on Sunday, 10 p.m. You'll get all the information. All right, guys, there's this issue that as we wind up, I just wanted to see. There's this issue of party loyalty, the party leader at the party position. It's a disease in this country, specifically with the major political parties. It started with the Azimio coalition, and it seemed the Azimio coalition things are settling. Some are in court, and some have been maybe deliberated on. Now the disease has gone to the Kenya Kwanza coalition, and you'll understand that they were supposed to do the grassroots elections, the first one on 9th December, that is 5 days from today, but that one has since been postponed. And I think my gaze and your gaze are the same, because when they postponed it, we knew that things were not right. The house was not in order. And as days go by, instead of putting the house back to order, things are falling apart. So we don't know what is going to happen. And it's a great concern that even those people who went to the Bombers, the dialogue committee, they had it as an agenda, something called how to bring sanity to the political parties to ensure that people become loyal to their political parties. So it's a war that I don't think it will have to end. So let me just allow us listen to the UDA Secretary General addressing this issue. Then we can be able to try to say something about it.
Now, UDA Secretary General Cleopas Malala says all Kenya Kwanza affiliate parties should fold and join UDA ahead of the party's grassroots elections. Now, speaking in Nakuru after unveiling the party offices in the county, Malala said the postponed party elections are meant to allow adequate preparations for a credible election. Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika blasted the opposition calls for a referendum to implement the National Dialogue Committee report.
Our sister parties within the Kenya Kwanza family to consider folding their parties, and these are ongoing conversations that we are having with them, and that is one of the reasons why we postponed our elections to April, to allow our brothers fold up their parties so that they can come and participate in our elections.
So we have no time to now start taking people back to the political atmosphere of trying to do a referendum. There is no time for a referendum right now. It is time to make sure that we build our economy and we make sure that everybody can put food on the table.
Yes, hapo ndio tumefika. We have no time for referendum. Then the most important part of it, why I played the video, is to ask you, do you think it is possible to have the sisters parties hold their parties and form one big party like the one they talk of, the Chinese Communist Party, based on the political of the party dishonesty that we've experienced in this country in both ends, be it in the majority side or the minority side? You'll find that Kenya is having is one of the countries in Africa that is having several political parties whenever people go to election. And if you try to look at the reason why we have different political parties, is lack of trust. People don't trust maybe the party leaders, or they don't trust the party structures. So they're using these parties as a vehicles to win elections, and they would rather prefer to go on a coalition that have their parties folded, and so that they can have one single party. Simply because if I contest in ODM, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be given that ticket. Let me use given, because it is normally hard to prove that somebody won or somebody was given based on how it is normally done. It is not that transparent. So somebody feels that if I fold my small party and join ODM and I lose nominations in ODM, that is the end of it, and I'll not have an opportunity maybe to go and try it in a different party, based on that we have law that prevents you to move from one party to another within a certain period of time. So somebody prefer that I have my party, maybe I call it Ford Kenya. If things don't have work well, I can be able to get my briefcase party and use it. So will it be possible for the UDA to convince Ford Kenya, convince ANC, convince those Maendeleo Chap and all those other small parties to join together? And why do you think these other parties are so reluctant? They don't want to follow their parties. They don't want to join UDA. They are comfortable supporting UDA. They are comfortable enjoying benefiting from UDA, but they are not willing and they're not ready to follow their parties and now say, we are no longer members of Maendeleo Chap, we are members of UDA. What is so hard for them to achieve this? Let me start with you, Revolutionary, then I'm seeing Jax is also there.
Yes, I missed the whole thing when Kihika was talking, but I would say if we were to start a political party, let's base it on the people's movement on the ground. Start with a political movement before we get to a political party. Okay? Kwanza two party, it's a business anyway. People start their, what's his name? The guy from Ukambani who started his party and he died. What's his name? He was very funny. Not Mulu Mutisia. What's his name? He had a beef with Sonko.
Are you talking about Kalembe Ndile or who?
Kalembe Ndile, yes. Kalembe Ndile. He started the party and he was explaining how it's an easier way of making money. If you start your party, unaingiza watu, you get in a coalition, you get paid. So what I'm saying is this: it's better to start a political movement, and the conditions are ripe right now. We have these political coalitions, two political coalitions, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, who has let us down. And there's an opportunity for a third political movement before it becomes a party. A movement that's based on, advocating the people's interest. Because these two they have proven to be, they don't care about our interests. They care about the positions and the salaries and all that stuff. The power, the trappings of power. So that's what we need to do. But other than that, I just wanted to say this. Leo and Jakes, consistency. Let's have consistency. This we are having a great discussion, but nyinyi mnakuja hapa Sunday amonekani, Saturday amonekani. So people don't know when to come in. There are people who are asking me, hey, when is Mutembei coming in? African 24 coming in? So consistency might help so we can have discussion. That's why the other people, your channel again, your sister channel on the other side, unfortunately, they're advocating for one party. But here it's more democratic. People talk what they want to talk. But the problem is we don't have consistency. Mnataka kufunga show saa hizi. There are people want to come. Changamka. Jakes looks like he has akona homa kali. Sijui nimpatie ndimu. Changamka. This is our lives.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for one. We have been having some issues with our studio for quite some time now, but I think by tomorrow, by tomorrow, latest Wednesday, we should be okay. We were having some serious challenges, Leo and myself and other members. So we are now good. You know, our channel is as good as the people who come into it. We are a strong party if we call ourselves a party.
No, we're not a party.
We were having some issues here and there, but we are working very, very hard. And those who are following us can really see the work happening. And soon enough, you will be able to see all the work that we have been doing behind the curtains will be evident for all to see. Sorry,
Jakes, let me give you an example.
Just one moment. We really want to take it upon ourselves to really apologize and say we are deeply concerned by how much you guys really long to watch and view our shows, and unfortunately, we are not able to be throughout, but we are coming out stronger and better. Just hold on, kidogo tu, nikahich kadogo, but soon we are good. Like now, I was live on TikTok, and I'm streaming using a phone, and but to be kiasi, no need for concern from anyone. It has been sorted out, so we are now good. We are now good. Asanteni sana. To our viewers, continue subscribing. The numbers are growing on steadily and fast. Thank you to all who have subscribed on TikTok. We are now past 1,000. Growing strong and big very fast. Thank you so much. It's the new kid in the block, and this kid will be doing things maajabu hapa kule. Thank you for Leo, for everyone who comes in, the panelists, Kenya Rebel, na wengine wengi. So we just ask
unipatangi shout out lakini Jakes jibu nani? Hakuna nitumia kasi wale. Okay, endelea tu.
We thank you for your continued viewership and for continued participating even on this live broadcast. Thank you, Kenya Rebel, for always being part of the show.
Tell them to subscribe to my channel.
Just one moment. Sometimes I'm not sure if to praise Jatello or to praise Kenya Rebel, but follow this guy on YouTube. He has a nice channel.
Hajatuambia jina ya channel.
Jina ya channel Revolutionary. Ni ndefu tu kama jina lake, so look for that.
Ni jina langu Kenya Revolutionary. Go subscribe.
Let me remove this banner for you so that you can see his name. Think his name
is Kenya
like his name appears.
Kenya Revolutionary.
Long name, Look for that.
Type it on YouTube.
Yeah, he has over 700 and something viewers, subscribers rather.
Yes, we are pushing for 1,000.
Let's make him reach 1,000, and as well let's allow a freak ifike hapo, by you subscribing. Actually, subscribing is free of charge. Just subscribe. Let us grow together. As well, subscribe to Afrique. Now, the good thing about Afrique, subscribing guarantees you enough prizes. So subscribe, and you never know.
Subscribe to my channel, and I'll give you some knowledge. I'll send you this book for free.
Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll definitely get content from all our channels. Can we go back to the show?
Yes, sir.
Now, Leo had asked a very nice question, and equally, I'm glad you played the clip. Now, it's interesting to see what Susan Keheka, my governor, is saying at the moment. It's very quite interesting. We were here before. We were here before when the former DP, who the president now, was telling us that we don't want kubadilisha katiba, tutafutie watu wachache kazi, right? We'll be playing that very soon for you. He was saying very vocally that he doesn't want iwe kuhusu wakubwa, yeah, na haja zao. There is where he was really vocal, saying that it's about mama mboga, mtu wa chini. You know, he was saying tuanze pale chini, tufungue kazi kwa wale wengi, you know, badala ya kufungulia kazi hawa wachache, tuunde sera ama tuunde projects ambazo zitaandika kazi vijana wengi. Fast forward 1 year now, the report is out, and what was so loud in that report is that it spoke highly and more about offices to be created, funds for these offices, funds for existing offices, you know, and it was so silent about you, Mwananchi. It was so silent about you, Mama Mboga. You, the man called Hustler. You were actually absent in that report. In any case, you featured in the AOB. Matters that arose were we couldn't agree on 2 issues. Of course, one was thrown out in court, and of course, in January, it will find its way back. But the cost of living was never addressed. In any case, Kenya Kwanza was not willing to address it. Now, today, or rather, UDA now is saying we don't need the referendum. Some may agree, but some in UDA equally are saying the report is good. We are giving it 100% endorsement, right? So it's already a nice, interesting conversation about to happen, where we'll have Kenya Kwanza for the first time fighting its own. One, why? Because the president has already given it a nod. There is Susan Keheka, the governor, saying it's not a priority. We saw the Secretary General there. We don't know what he will say. But when you look at the whole scenario, is this how eventually we begin to create some cracks in Kenya Kwanza? We saw Didi Nyoro very vocal against it. We saw the Molo MP very vocal against it, Wamoshomba and many others. But you as Kenyans, you who view us and look and watch rather these programmings, what is your take? Do you agree with the report? Do you agree that this country, with all its challenges, we need a referendum? We need to amend our constitutions, not to suit you, Mwananchi, not to suit you in any way, just to increase the tax burden, just to increase the wage bill. At the moment, close to half of what we collect as taxes and all goes to recurrent expenditure. Now they want to increase that. Is that what we signed up for? Is that what many campaigned for Kenya Kwanza to achieve? Was that the clarion call when they talked of bottom up? You know, so those are the questions. But Kenya Rebel, if I can come to you with the same, is this where we see now serious divisions? If we have to go to a referendum, is this where we are going to now see serious demarcations, both in Azimio and in Kenya Kwanza? Because Martha Karua as well, we have seen her tweets, and she's not seemingly singing from Raila Odinga's angle. So what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Martha Karua, and you're right. This is actually, I think the people who agree with this report and want it to go to a referendum are people who are hoping that this thing will pass and the constitution will be changed, and they hope that they'll watapata cheo hapo kiti moja hapo mbili tatu. But again, I pose this question: how does creating a position for prime minister position or chief cabinet minister, how does that help bring the cost of living down? Do we have to change the constitution to bring that? No, we don't. So this thing is a sham, and now it is showing. It is actually exposing the people who really care about their positions and not care about the people's positions. I mean, people's problems. The common Wananchi's problems. None. So it's a good thing. Let this, and I think, to me, honestly, I was thinking about it. Maybe it might be a setup by Ruto, because remember at that funeral, you remember Mukami's funeral, the Deda Kimathi's wife's funeral. Remember that? When Ruto came in and said, "Najua hii kitu hili mzee anataka," and then after that, we had this referendum. But Ruto knows that majority of Kenyans, Jake, you're in Kenya, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Leo uko Kenya, Nyabaya, put your video on. I want to ask you a question. Uko Kenya, Nyabaya. Tell me is not, where is he at? Israel?
No, I just left my village the other day, 2 days ago.
Where are you located, if I may ask?
Right now, I'm in Somalia. I'm in Somalia, Mogadishu, but I always go back to my village after every 2 months maximum if I stay for long.
Okay, so when you interact with the villagers, watu wako mtaani, and even you, Leo, are they excited about the prospect of changing the constitution? Are they for this? Do they want these positions created, or do they want the cost of living down to be brought down? And if there was a referendum, do you think they'll vote for it? That's what I want to ask you. For those of you who are on the ground, maybe I'm getting different signals from the ground. Randall, you might tell me, maybe you know somebody, you have a cousin or you have a auntie in Kenya. Are they for this referendum? Do they want this position created? Do they think creating these positions, a referendum will cure the cost of living? Because to me, the way I look at it, I think it's a setup by Ruto, is exposing that these Azimio folks actually just want these positions, but he wants the people to see that these guys are not serious. Give me a view, please.
Kenya Rebel, when you talk about that, last time I was in Kenya was twice. I was 2018, then I came back, I stayed for about 9 months, then I went back in 2019 to 2020 for about 1 year and 6 months. But when I went the second time, when I sat down with the elders, I did talk to them. This is during the period that the late Uhuru Kenyatta was the president. When I talk to the elders in the part of Kiambu, because they were asking me a question about here, and I was interested about then being who I am. I was more kind of Afrocentric, not so much as a Kenyan. So I'm all around. And the thing I said to them, I said, if you have a problem with your government, then why don't you lot hold a referendum? And the elders are like, no, we don't want a referendum. Nothing's wrong with our constitutions. Nothing's wrong with our law. We're happy with the way it is. The last time a referendum was held was in 2010. So since 2010 until now, which I know, the constitution was changed during that period of time. I believe that was the period of Moi Kibaki, if I'm not mistaken. So, yes, if I'm not mistaken. So now, when I said that and I came back, then you had this BBI come out. Just when I was just about to leave. So this BBI come out, and during that time, Jakes was here. A lot of people were here at the meantime. I'll mention a few of them, but I'm not going to do that right now. But with Jakes, I remember after us having that discussion, and there was about the parliament, making this BBI, new constitution, a new law before the election took place. But when people were like, yeah, we want the BBI, and some people were like, we don't want the BBI. But the problem with people is rumors they're hearing, hearsay. Nobody went to download the documentation. Nobody went to do the research. What is inside the BBI? And there was a lot of things I was not happy with some other people.
If I may,
I was like, you know what? There's some things. Yeah, go ahead.
If I may, you're right. The BBI, they were trying to push this BBI, and once the information started coming out about what's contained in the BBI, which was basically a restructuring of the government, which was going to force a change in the constitution, majority of Kenyans rejected it, and that's why it gives Ruto a lot of followers, because he was against it. So that's why I was very specific. That's why I asked you. You've been away for some time now. Maybe perhaps Jakes and Leo, you are in Kenya, where Leo is in Somalia. Stay safe in Somalia. I think it's very kind of, yeah. Jakes, on the ground, are people happy with this Nanko Kalonzo Musyoka nonsense?
What do you mean, Kalonzo Musyoka? I don't want to use the word you have used.
Okay, Kalonzo Musyoka Ichungwa NADCO recommendation proposal. Are people so happy about it, excited, whether it's Kenya Kwanza or Azimio? Are they happy about it? I'm not in the ground, that's why I'm asking.
One, you must understand that this, in a way, didn't meet many expectations, in that what was promised and what was delivered really was very far from what came out, because initially it was all about the cost of living. Remember the mandamanos and how many people lost their lives, property destroyed and all this came to people, and they were like, okay, it's good that we have these talks. Then again, when the talks began, we felt that probably this will be good, in that the recommendations that would come probably would affect the cost of living. But to our surprise and to the shock of many, this truly hit the lows, in that none of our expectations was met. So many one are upbeat about it, others are so angry with the report to the level that they don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to be associated with it in any particular way. Even talking about it is not something that you find in the streets, people discussing. You have not even had it in Bunge of Mwananchi. We know people clapping for it, or rather saying it's a good bill or a bad bill. One, we are still in the dark, not sure what happens from here. Does it go to Parliament? Will it be approved as it is? Will Parliament truly have a debate, or they'll just say put the question and push it as it is, then allow Mwananchi to vote for it, or it will not even come to Mwananchi? But of course, what affects the basic structure of our constitution must come to Mwananchi for a yes or no kind of voting. So Mwananchi really on the ground is missing. Mwananchi on the ground is missing. And his voice, I can tell you for free, will be heard if the referendum was to happen tomorrow. And I don't want to be a prophet, or I don't want to cast any aspersion to anything, but I tend to think Mwananchi might either boycott the referendum or vote against it, or the turnout will be so little that it won't really make sense, So I don't know. I really don't want to be the devil's advocate here, but this is what I would say is that Mwananchi has a lot that is coupling with at the moment, a lot. Others don't even have shelters. We are speaking, floods swept away their houses, their livelihood was destroyed by the waters and all. That's not a person who is thinking about the constitution. That's not a person who is now thinking about if we have an opposition leader or not. That's not a person who is thinking of if the Senate needs to have oversight fund. In any case, they would be even asking what is happening to the counties allocated funding at the moment. Why are they not filling the counties? Why are they not filling the members of parliament? Because you remember as well, they equally have a funding, known as CDF. CDF is not a bursary fund. CDF is not just meant for schools.
So Jakes,
why are we not seeing these MPs? Just one moment.
Jakes.
Why are we not seeing these MPs coming out and standing in solidarity with the electorate? Because by the end of the day, they equally have some funds, they equally have some resources. The governors, as much they would complain that the government has not given them anything, these are county governments that collect levy every day, taxes every day. Mamamboga pays 20 shillings, 50 shillings, 100 shillings, several thousands to get licenses. The toll stations and every other places that these county offices receive their money. You know, if you park your car, you will see a kanjo somewhere, you know, wanting to get some money from you. So they have some money. They could maybe say it's not enough, but they will not say they have zero amount of money. So from where I see it, Mwananchi is not really happy. Mwananchi seems to lack the touch of the government, and of course as well as from the county government, and the legislature is a shame, you know, is a shame. So that's the feel from the ground.
So based on Jake's assessment, from what I'm getting, what you're trying to tell me is that this NADCO proposal, if he was to go to a referendum today, the Mwananchi will vote a resounding no to it. Am I getting it? Okay, probably. That's all I wanted to hear.
But our politicians, being the way they are, I can tell you for free, one, they will use words convincing enough to Mwananchi. One, they will definitely, this document, itasukwa, it will be prepared well. This is just a report, but the final document will be properly prepared. And it will have some sweeteners, if I may use that word. It will have something to entice Mwananchi to vote for it. The voices we are hearing now then will be not as loud, in that they'll not speak so much about the opposition leader. They'll not speak so much about the Senate Oversight Fund. Neither will they speak about the MCA's fund and all. They'll not speak about that. What they'll speak of will be the things that they have concocted to entice Mwananchi. So Mwananchi will have something up and down eventually. Kutakuwa na something being mentioned up and down, and that is what will be sold. The narrative will go out there. Mwananchi will forget about the prime cabinet's position and all, and eventually, somehow, maybe it might pass. The conversation from now will change. Right now, maybe people may complain about the positions, blah blah blah, but eventually camps will be so clear. We'll have the no side and the yes side. The yes side will have reasons to convince. The no side as well will have reasons to object. As it stands at the moment, the no side seems to have the upper hand. But as I've said, the yes side will prepare so well. And the yes side here is the government. And it's interesting that now the government, case in point here, William Ruto and Raila Odinga, seems to be agreeing with the document. In fact, Raila Odinga said, to just quote his words, it's a good document, though not finished, or rather it's still a shell. He agrees with it. Now, it's interesting that what will complete this shell will be the sweeteners, will be the things that will entice, will be the bait that Rebel, who is a strong Azimio supporter, will say, kama baba amesema ndio, basi ni hivyo. So it will whip both Azimio supporters and Kenya Kwanza supporters. Basically, there will be no reasoning. They'll create a wave. A wave will be created, and here will now fall down to, the chips will now fall to either, are you a Kenya Kwanza supporter? Are you an Azimio supporter? And of course, the many, don't you ascribe to none of the parties? So basically, by the end of the day, something will give. By the end of the day, by the end of it all, something must give. So what will give? It will depend with how the yes team package their song, how the no team package their team and their convincing sentiments all together. So from where I sit, at the moment it could be no. At the moment it could be a resounding no. But with time, it will be polished, and you might be surprised. It might pass. Of course, not overwhelmingly, but it might. Or of course, we might see a surprise U-turn from Raila Odinga. You remember how it happened in 2005? Kibaki thought that it was all systems go, and then kidogo, a no team came up, ODM was birthed, and we had the first defeat. So William Ruto could be as well being set to fail. Our pampered, I introduce a referendum. So when we are almost at, you know,
Jakes, you know, Jakes, this is all a game, Jakes. You know that. You know this is it.
So when
you
we
know
are
what the
almost
finals gonna
voting,
be. The
Raila
final
Odinga may say
touch
back,
gonna be a touch of
and there,
you know, you know, cost of living, cost of this, the NHS or the hospital bills, and all that's gonna be for the Wananchi. But as you said as well, which is very smart. On top, they MPs have already made their own choosing of what they want. So when it is a yay or nay, they know what they're gonna gain out of it. But it's gonna manipulate the Wananchi at the end of the day. It's a game.
Yeah. So it could also be a smart move from Raila Odinga to set the president up. Let him come out, prepare, you know, psych the Wananchi to vote for the referendum. But before a week, a month, 2 months to the D-Day, to the referendum day, he pulls out and says, you know what, there are things we didn't agree. You know, just like he's trying to pull a card. There are things we haven't agreed on. We wanted the Wako draft. They brought the Naivasha draft, you know. And eventually he'll join the No team. And that will create another huge momentum. And that will be the beginning of what we call it, the greatest fall of William Ruto. Why? He will have lost in a referendum, him being in government. You remember what Kibaki suffered from? He lost while he was in government. So what happens? He ended up, you know, dissolve the cabinet, akabaki tu na yeye na Kalonzo, and I think the speaker and someone else. So eventually, Kibaki was left almost one man alone. You know, hakuwa na team. So Raila Odinga may pull a surprise. So I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket that Raila will go all the way saying yes. Neither do I want to put my eggs and say this thing will go fully to a referendum. Maybe it could also go the Uhuru way, waste time, you know, waste time on the whole thing. And then by the time tunafika 2027, waseme, you know what, we really need a referendum or to prepare for the next election. So it can also be a tactic that let's keep this man busy, you know, let's keep a conversation, right? Any type of conversation, whether it's NADCO, whether it's collecting of signatures, whatever type of conversations they will be having. As it is, you don't even have an IBC to conduct a referendum. So in any case, there will be tactics to waste time. So that by the time tunaongelea a referendum, ndio hii elections. Mind you, we are now headed to 2024. So we'll only have 2025 and 2026, right? So if this thing does not work in 2024 or maybe 2025, forget about it. Just like what happened to BBI. BBI happened in 2019, but 2020, nothing. 2021, nothing. 2022 is where they now bring it up with some momentum. Unfortunately, didn't really hit where it was supposed to hit. So what am I saying is that there could be so many angles to look at it, including wasting of time. Yeah. So because I can guarantee it, this thing is not happening tomorrow. So when is it happening? That's the big question. How will it happen? Will it just be a parliamentary thing? Will it come to Mwananchi? When it comes to Mwananchi, will all systems be ready for it? Yeah. So that's how I look at it. That's my angle. That's my view. You can take it home, Kenya Rebel.
Kenya Rebel, can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Kenya Rebel. I don't know if you're muted. No, we cannot. So even as he's coming back, what do you think, Randall? Do you agree with my sentiments, with my view? Those are my views. Those are my opinion.
Well, this as I said, this referendum that was a debate that was in before, even before the BBI. So
yeah.
And they weren't for it. I mean, the few people that I knew were like, we don't need a referendum. Kenyans seem to be satisfied and happy with the constitution and the laws they already had. So in 2021, when I came along, or 2022, and the BBI, no, before 2021, actually started around July or June, if I'm mistaken, the BBI started to be kind of being brought around. So right now you could say there's an element of that referendum coming out, but nobody's caught it up. But the question is, what are they making a referendum for? But what laws need to be changed? Which Kenya Rebel just mentioned earlier to Leo, and he said to Leo that when we do referendum, it's only to change the constitution. It does not affect the cost of living. It does not affect the gas bill or anything. The constitution is a bill that's built for more like for the betterment of the wananchi of Kenya to have a better life in terms of injustice, laws, governance. We're talking about basically things, the basic domestic things of home, domestic things of home. So you cannot be harassed. You cannot be turned into a slave. Nobody can make you into a slave in Kenya because it's a country of democracy. These are the constitutions, so nobody can give you a job and not pay you. They need to pay you. They cannot lock you up in a house like an animal. So they have the democracy to move from left and right, move back and forth, and anybody can come and become a citizen of Kenya, but they have to follow the constitution, such as no raping, no abuse, no kidnapping, no terrorism, no enslavement. All these are that. But the cost of living, that's an economical issue. That forum the Department of Economy has to look into it. The e-commerce, the commerce section has to look into the economy, like what's going on with the cost of living going very high. People are struggling, they're not making enough money to buy the normal necessities they need every day. That's the government needs to question that thing. So it's nothing to do with the constitution. So I do understand people are more kind of thinking like it's a question of where they're gonna get the unga to eat today, ugali, or a piece of paper that has a kind of a problem with that, the constitution, which you said earlier. We have problem with floods. People have left home. People have lost homes. People are in hospital. People are dying. But does anybody really want to hear about the constitution right now? And anybody want to hear about referendum when basically we got people who are struggling with hunger, starvation, and floods? That should be the number one topic. What is being done? A rescue has been sent out there. Has been a search party been sent out there? Have they made camps for like medicinal help or charities to help those people who are misplaced from their homes? If people have gone missing, have they gone to search for them? So between a referendum and between the survival right now in Kenya, I think survival is more immediate, like needs to be dealt with right now, more than thinking about the constitution, because the constitution right now is not so bad as it is from 2010, my understanding. The BBI, the idea I didn't like is because it started with the idea that as we do know, our own constitution starts with God first. We look at God first before we put our own laws. So the BBI took that off. And it was man was God, man was everything, man was the word, man was no. That's what people said, that BBI, once we do that, we're gonna start worshiping human beings as our God and and doing what they say. But we put God first and we fear God first, and that's what we do. Then after that, we elect our leaders underneath, the armor of God, that we shall be led through wisdom and through the light and through righteousness to do the right thing. So it's questionable. So when you talk about this referendum, the thing is that would make me think is that what is so important that they need a referendum? What are they making? Do they think that they're going to put this referendum through? The parliament is going to accept it. The next day, Ruto will like pack his bag and just leave the state house because they won. That's what I'm wondering. What's the purpose of it all? Like really? Yeah, that's what I like to say. My input.
Okay. Kenya Rebel, I see you back now. You seem not to agree with most of the sentiments that I raised. What do you seem not to agree with?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay. What I was saying is this: Raila will not switch up because if you remember when this Mandamano started 7 months ago, he came out and said he wanted something akin to the 2008 Kofi Annan Accord, which basically gave him a power-sharing deal, the creation of prime ministerial position, and all that nonsense, okay? That's what he has been wanted. That's what he wanted from the get-go. So all this, and even Leo told us here that, you know, hii mambo ya cost of living, electoral justice, hii mambo walikuwa nasema tu ndio watu wa dandie hiyo mandamano, just to seem that everybody wants to get into it. But the real reason, Raila and his friends and his minions, they wanted a position. They want a position for themselves. So finally they got into this NADCO nonsense with Kimani Machungwa and Kalonzo Musyoka, who's been, we know, Kalonzo Musyoka, do you know the history of Kalonzo Musyoka? Anyway, I won't go there today. I'll say these things in my channel because I want to sound as nice as I can in this channel. Changamka Jakes. I'm saying things.
Mimi niko sawa.
Rebel, I'm gonna get in touch with you now on your channel to see what's going on with you, man. You gave me interested. I already wrote it down. I'm gonna link you on your channel, definitely.
Right.
And how to get real talk.
By the way, I always go live every day between 1 and 2 US time. So that's like 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock UK time. You can join me there in live.
Oh, okay. Okay, if you send me a link, that's fine. Yeah. Go ahead. As you was asking.
Yeah, just like my name is spelled, just write it on YouTube. You'll find me there. Subscribe, and I'll go live tomorrow. Anyway, Jex, like I was saying, Changamka Jex, usijali.
I'm okay.
They wanted this, so they will take it to. They will try to take it to Nenio, but as I've said, it will not get to. Probably won't get to referendum because someone will go to the courts, or Kiom Tata, somebody, because this is not a proposal that comes from the people. This is a bunch of guys. Ruto and Raila sat down somewhere. They called each other and said, "Hey, listen, I'll send 7 guys to sit at Boma Center. Send your 7 guys so we can come up with a proposal, and then we'll pass it through the parliament, and hopefully they send it for a referendum." So it's not a people's initiated proposal. Remember, the BBI was stopped at the courts. It wasn't stopped at the parliament. It was stopped at the courts because somebody petitioned and said, this is not a people's initiative. This was Uhuru Kenyatta trying to create positions, changing the constitution so he can be a perpetual leader of Kenya. That's why I tell you, I have bottomless contempt for Uhuru Kenyatta. I even have a soft spot for Moi. That old decrepit. Anyway, never mind. Anyway, let me go back. So what I'm saying is this. Raila wants this. And that's why he wants a mandamano. And if you listen to his speech carefully, he says something. He said to avoid any mischievous person going to the courts trying to stop this this plebiscite. You know, we are going to pass it through the parliament. So the parliament, because you know, if the constitution has to be changed, it has to go to the parliament, and the parliament votes for it to go back to the wananchi, because the parliament are the wananchi. The parliament represents the wananchi. Then the parliament votes for it to go to the mashinani, so the people can vote for it. So he knew what he was talking about. But what he fails to understand is that these proposals are not coming from the people. It's not a people initiative. If the debate started at the legislative body, then maybe he will have a case. But this talks started outside. It was an extra parliamentary discussion. Kalonzo Musyoka is not an elected official. He's a bimbo that's trying to make money off Kenyan people. But anyway, so in short, what I'm trying to say is this. I'm glad that the people in the ground are seeing the light. They can see that all these Azimio people who everyone thinks that they are the opposition, they're supposed to put the government in check. And every day Raila Odinga is coming up with the dossier telling us about Njeri and these mafuta za ujinga and all this nonsense. It comes up every day. I'm glad, and I agree with Goodyear there. We should unite as Kenyans, but we should hold Azimio's hands and work with. Okay, when you say holding their hands, just go ahead and log off. You've had enough internet, Goodyear. But anyway, like I said, This exposes Azimio as being power hungry. They just want wanataka cheo, nothing else, and nobody will fight them. So I'm glad the people on the ground, in case the court does not stop this. Good year. Subscribe, comment tomorrow on one of my videos. I'll send it to you. Give me your address. I'll send it to you free of charge. It will all on me. I'll send it to you. Whether you're in UK, US, Australia, I'll do it for you. Go ahead. Anyway, thank you, Jakes. As I was saying, these two people do not care about the but I gave you the remedy. We should start by telling our representatives that you either advance our needs ama tunakutoa. And Jakes, go look at the laws of recalling your MP. You have to wait for 12 months. Actually, right now you can do it. Wali feature kwa nini. I'm doing a video on it tomorrow. Subscribe to my channel, everybody. I'm doing a video tomorrow. I want to feature these electoral laws because they don't want people to know how to recall your MPs, because they know we the people have the power, but we are not exercising our power. That's why I was so mad at Leo when he was saying at the legislative body is not working, parliament is not working. So it's not working because we are not holding them accountable. Ni kama uniweke as a the head of bursary na kuna pesa ya $1 billion. Mimi nikianza kununua mabenz and beamers and naenda kwa club. If you're not asking questions, why should I care? That's the point I was making. But anyway, usikufe moyo. Jake, you look like you're very wacha kupatia na remote hapo. Na una randall hapo. Leo ingia Somalia wamekuja kwa Al-Shabaab wasikuue. Why are you in Somalia, by the way? I want to know why you're in Somalia.
No, I'm fine, Kenya Rebel. By the way, your mic is starting to crackle a little bit.
All right,
I think it's your laptop mic, or is it your mobile phone? Yeah, your earpiece was a bit more clear.
All right. Okay.
Yes, Jake.
So even as we go on, we are glad that you chose and made time to watch and subscribe to our channel. Asante sana wewe ambaye umekuwa miongoni mwetu. Asante sana. I love these sentiments from Goodyear. Goodyear, you say we should unite as Kenyans, but we should hold Azimio's hands and walk them through to reality. Okay, I love that.
I didn't read the whole thing. I agree, Goodyear. Sorry, I apologize.
The reality should hit everybody, both Kenya Kwanza, Azimio, our members of parliament, that by the end of the day, it's not about who gets what. We just need services, Let me ask you, Kenya Rebel, we have so many MPs, we have so many women reps, we have so many governors, we have so many senators. If everyone is getting funds to do something, right? Yet, then again, what they are given does not trickle down to mwananchi. Are some of these funds even necessary? Were we in a rush to devolve our country, only to devolve corruption, to devolve selfishness, to devolve incompetence, to devolve things that only hurt mwananchi, yet we term them as our leaders? But you see them fighting in parliament. You see them fighting in funerals. You see them raising weird topics, very funny topics. If I ask you correctly, do you think we need all these offices? And if that is enough, do we even need to add any?
I'm so glad you say, what's with this thing, people meeting every weekend and arguing in somebody's funeral?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see, whose funeral was it in Kakamega when Salasia came in and what's this Kakamega senator, Boni Kalwale, this pinhead that was talking about Henry Kissinger being a good... Anyway, let me behave myself today. Anyway, like I said, Jakes, we have a very good constitution that works for us. Unfortunately, it hasn't watu hawafuatilii constitution. The law is there, lakini hatutaki kufuata. But now that somebody is butthurt because he wants part of the power, anasema is trying to blackmail everyone into creating new position and changing the constitution and going for a plebiscite. No, we should refuse this. Any constitution can work for all of us. It's good. Let's implement it fully. Watu waliiba pesa, tuwashike. Kama Ruto aliiba pesa, tumshike. Kama Uhuru aliiba pesa, tumshike. Kama Kibaki aliiba pesa, kama Murkomen aliiba pesa, tumshike. Randall, I see you want to say something. Let me shut up.
Kenya Rebel, no. I was just listening to you. Continue, as you're saying. Catching these criminals is one thing.
Yeah, like I was saying, we have the constitution that, if implemented, it can work wonderfully for our republic. But these senators, MPs, the executive, don't respect it. And the opposition are no better. They're pretending to be with us, speaking in funerals every weekend, talking about what? Nothing. Na bado you put your trust on Azimio, mnaitana Tugenge and all that. Let's not tolerate this. That's why I started by saying we should exercise our power as the people. Let's go back to Mashinani. Who is your MP? Tell that MP this is the deal and make him sign. So it's something that we can take him to court. Say, if you don't do X, Y, Z, we are going to take you out and we are going to use the courts. Let him sign an affidavit saying that he or she will do X, Y, Z. But the problem is the majority of Kenyan people do not understand how constitution works. I was debating Mato the other day when he was here. The poor guy doesn't even know what constitution is. And is out there lamenting, talking about how Ruto is ruling us. Ninio. And you can go to the other channel and see how he's creating Ninio and talking crap. But he doesn't even know how to fight Ruto.
But then again, Kenya Rebel, Mato is not here to defend himself. So
invite him. I'll debate him any day.
Refrain from attacking him directly when he'll be back, because he will be. Then I'll give you the opportunity to directly attack him. Then, of course, I'll definitely give him a right of reply. So
do you have his contacts? I'll call him right now. I know he lives in Kansas. I'll call him.
Yeah, let's continue with the show for now before we bring in other guys to,
Okay. Sorry, I'm like talking too much.
No. Can you remember? I enjoy what you're saying. I know you're like, a lot of people, you see me, myself, I'm really, before people used to say I'm aggressive, but later on people started to find out that I'm passionate. When I'm impassionate, I was willing to go to jail. I was even told that people were telling me, like, talking like they will get you into trouble. People were saying like, you might be suffering from mental health. I'm like, fine. But the fact is, when I come with the evidence and the proof with the signatures, you cannot deny me my right to say what I'm saying. So for everything you're saying, the same thing that I was saying when I was in Kenya, these corrupt officials, they need to be caught. Number one, their property taken over. Number two, their banks shut down. Any assets that they own should be taken over, and they have no right to do any work and suspension until the investigation is done. But this has happened once or twice, but nothing has happened. They come back on road. They just end up again. You just see them back in position. Not even that, they get promoted, and it kills you. So you think the thing is, if you say to Ruto, corruption has to stop. And you said, what? Gachagua is the one who's stealing money. And Ruto will say, yeah, it's true. You can bring him all the evidence. But the problem with Ruto, when he opens up his closet and he sees what stuff he's been hiding in there, If he's going to catch Gachagua, he has to catch himself. And that's the problem. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but during the period of Moi Kibaki, apparently Moi Kibaki was not corrupted. I don't know if it's true or it's a lie, but apparently Moi Kibaki used to do things according to the books. But when he did this, there was nothing that could be done to him. So what happened? He started to go after corrupted officials. When he started to chase corrupted officials, who did they bring up in front of him? His son and his wife. They brought evidence of corruption of his son. They brought evidence of corruption of his wife. Of the amount of money they've been stealing. Kibaki could do nothing less except stand down. Being threatened with his own household. He never had his own house in order, leave alone. The house was already stealing within his own house. And he's trying to tell Wananchi, stop stealing. Your child is stealing from us. Your wife is already stealing. Get your house in order before you come to us and tell us. If you want us to go down, your wife goes down. If we go down, your son goes down. So he put his hands up. And I love the thing of Ruto talking about corruption has to stop. But if it's going to stop, it has to stop with him. So mpatia mpingu, aweke hizo mpingu hapo ndani, alafu ajipeleke ndani. Kwanza, alafu hao wengine wamfuate. Period. But the whole place has to be abolished. Starting from 1963. The whole parliamentary has to be completely abolished and rebuilt again. Now, that's me crying out for a serious revolutionary. When you talk about Kenyan revolutionary, we're talking, we have to be prepared for the worst before we get the best. We have to destroy before we can rebuild. But we're too scared and intimidated for what we got. We don't want to lose it. And for you to hold on to something, if you don't let go of that to get the new thing, you're never going to get a new thing because you're too stuck holding on to what you already know. Kitu kidogo, kitu kidogo, kitu kidogo. Wachana hii kitu kidogo. Tuachana naye aje. Nitakula aje. Sikana njaa, mimi nikana njaa. Hey. People will not agree. As much as they lamentate and they talk about, our government is terrible, we have corruption, this needs to stop. But wait there, how much money did you make on your corruption today? Have you looked in the mirror first? You, yourself as a corrupted officer, you want this corruption to stop and you're already practicing it. You're perpetuating the same thing, making you a hypocrite. Which for me, the ideology of democracy, which I say a lot to a lot of people, democracy to me, worldwide, I know we talk about Africa, and even when I talk to Europeans and other people from other countries, I say corruption is in every government. From the American government, the European government, the African government. For some reason, we are put on the platform as the worst thing on this planet. We are the example. But here in Britain, there's corruption. Trust me when I tell you that. It's just not in your face. They do it subtle ways and subliminal ways. And the people here in Europe, in UK, are crying. Why are they taxing us on our vehicles? Why are they taxing us on our roads? Why every time I get a ticket, I have to pay so much money for my car? Why I gotta pay tax for my car? Why have I got to pay for pollution? And where's that money going to? Because I don't see nothing changing. Don't think they're stupid. They're paying a lot of money for loads of stuff they don't only see with their own eyes. Pollution. What pollution has changed since we started getting charged for pollution? I have to change my car, catalytic converter. Now I'm not allowed to drive anywhere because if I drive in a certain area, I get a ticket. For what? For your CO emissions. If it's not right. So now we're forced to buy electric cars. But do we see any changes? It's costing us. I just bought a brand new car. Now I got to get rid of it. Stop buying this electric car. Now there's no electric place to go and charge your car. You have to charge it with your house. Now that costs a lot of money. Loads of stuff you have to do. So corruption is all over the world. And I say democracy is hypocrisy. And as Bob Marley said, any law that is legal is illegal. Period. And I believe that. And that's exactly what I stand for. And I said, you know what? When it comes to voting, looking at people, I do believe there's people that have good intentions in their heart. And the last debate I had was in a conference over here when they actually wanted to revolt. Here in UK, they wanted to revolt. And I went there marching because there was a cost of living, the high cost of living in UK. They were struggling with employment. There are problems with jobs. I believe that was 2010, 2009. And they said we need to revolt. And somebody within the debate was talking and said there's never been a revolt in UK ever. And I said, that's a lie. And they said, what do you mean? I said, I'm from Kenya. I can tell you your own history from UK. You've had a revolution once. They said, when? Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell, the statue's just outside in Leicester Square, and people don't even know who that guy is. He was a farmer. He was not happy with the government of the country in UK. Oliver Cromwell came from his farming, went to London City, went to Parliament, started a revolt, stopped the Parliament, completely abbreviated the whole Parliament, and got everyone to vote again, and start the whole Parliament all over again. Oliver Cromwell, when he had finished doing what he had done, and the UK government and had felt that they were in the right position and they had voted the right people into right places, Oliver Cromwell was asked to take the position as an MP, such as Churchill. He refused. He said, I just want my country to be fair, to be in the right position and to be leading correctly according to what people want. The government is for the people and the people is for the government. It should not for the individual rich people. And that's what Cromwell was standing for. So when that was done, he went back to farming. If anybody wants to Google that research, please go ahead and do so. Now, that's my understanding. So there has been a revolt over here that's happened before. France has happened before. But for some reason, Africa is still a kind of new continent when it comes to this ideology of democracy, which is westernized. Africa had a state of our way of living a long time ago. We had delegates, chiefs, governors, warriors, maidens. We had everything. We had our own governing, but that wasn't good enough. It's what the Europeans call savagery. That they came to Africa and people live like savages. And up to now, when I have debate with them, with no shame, and they think they're not racist, telling me, yeah, but Africans are backwards. No, look at them and think, do you know I'm African? Do you know I'm from Kenya? Yeah, you're not one of them. You came from UK. You're European. No, I'm not. I always stand for African. Whenever I make application, I write African and Afro-Kenyan. I'm not ashamed to be a one. Then you insulting them and calling them backwards, then I'm backwards. If you think Africans are savages, I'm a savage. So don't think me and you are equal just because I live in your country and speak your language. I don't respect you at all. I have more love for my culture, and I know the history of my culture way before you look. I even know your own history. So,
Jakes,
that's all I like to say. Go ahead, Rebel.
Okay.
Jakes, remember
Yes,
Jimmy Wanjigi when Jimmy Wanjigi was in Mombasa? I wonder why you don't play that speech. I think that speech is very important because it highlights how much money has been stolen from Kenyans through the government, okay? And he said something. If the Kenyan people know the money that has been stolen from Kenyans through these governments, whether it's SGR or that stupid highway, that is enough to cause a revolution. That's what he's saying. I've been calling for this. That's what I'm saying. Kenya is becoming ripe for revolution because the people we look at to save us, because the country was looking at Raila to save us from Ruto. Guess what? Raila is shaking hands with this guy and they want to bring this thing to a referendum so they can create a position for himself and Ruto. Because remember, Ruto will remain the president, Raila will become the prime minister, Mudavadi the chief secretary, Kalonzo Musyoka will be the opposition ujinga. Okay? But that's what I'm saying. The conditions are the condition is becoming ripe for a revolution. A revolution comes from the people, not these dickheads that are kind of ruling the country, that are sijui wanaleta hiyo mafuta sijui imetoka wapi na Njeri and all that. Njeri is just being used. Tumejua hiyo ni Marco na hiyo ujinga ingine. Okay? So what I'm saying is this. Instead of us looking at tunajiutasijui Kenya Kwanza, Azimio and all that nonsense, it is time for Kenyans to wake up and tell these leaders that, you know what? We donated this power to you so you can advance our interest, but you have failed. Ruto is giving Monsanto power to take over our seeds. Ruto is giving IMF power through the corporate, what is it called? Not corporate law. What is it called? This law that gives corporations power to take over parastatals. Okay? What I'm saying is this. Enough is enough. But people don't get it. I said it I told you 1 year ago, I told you this is a colonial puppet. And Raila, it also is a colonial puppet. That's why he hangs out with that senator from, not Wisconsin, was it Wyoming or something, Chris Coons, whatever his name is. These are colonial puppets from Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, Ruto, Moi, Jomo Kenyatta, Kibaki. Anybody who works in their administration should be harmed to death. I keep on telling you guys, it will take you time to get it. 1 year from now, you'll come and watch this video and say, Kenya Revolution was right. Lakini amsikii, mnajifanya bado mnajiita sijui Azimio sijui nini. Kenya is 50% of Kenya now is being owned by private corporations. 50%. Umeona ameleta hizi these laws that is bringing out right now. If you own a cow, you have to have a license. You have whatever, you have a license, whatever. Why? Who do you think it benefits? Because your license is for renew, and they know that most farmers will not renew that in time. They shall take it. They'll give it to a private what? Corporation. Lakini mkiwaambia mnaniona kama mimi ni chizi. That's why I call myself Kenya Revolution. I will disagree with my friend Randall because he says the Pan-Africanist. I'm willing to debate Julius Malema. That's sellout. Mandela was a sellout. I'm a Kenyan revolutionary. I stand for Kenya. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Africa?
No, Africa. You know what? Africa was named after an Italian general. I'm from Ethiopia. Ethiopia. You think Rastas are... Remember when those Rasta people are saying, I'm from Ethiopia. Go look at the Bible. Philip. Nani, Jex, you know your Bible, right? You know your Bible. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I know my Bible.
Okay.
I said I'm an Israelite. When they ask me what Israelite, I'm a Bantu Israelite. I know my roots way before Kenya, way before Africa, way before Ethiopia. And Ethiopia Edomites. Ethiopia Edomites. I know
I'm not talking about it. Listen.
And I also know Shem. So
I'm not talking about Ethiopia the country. I'm not talking about Ethiopia the country. I'm not talking about Ethiopia the country.
Channel. I'd rather do that on your channel, and me and you have a debate on that.
Okay, okay.
Let's stay on what's it?
I will.
Neil and
listen.
Kenya and
listen. Yeah. I'm not talking about Ethiopia the country. Africa before it was named Africa, it was known Ethiopia. Look at the Bible. Philip, when he met that black man, who was
Yeah, I don't
asking.
want to go into that. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God!
We have that on your channel tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
all right. Fair enough.
I'll
Fair enough.
I put notification, and I'm gonna send you a message saying, "Hey, can you rebel? This is reality 2K."
All right.
We'll talk. Me and you.
All right.
We're one-on-one. That's cool.
All right. That's fair. I like that. All right. Blessing. Leo, saw your face from Somali. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to say. He ran away. What's going on with these people? Show your face. Anyway, I keep on telling these guys that the revolution is ripe in Kenya. The conditions are ripe in Kenya. Raila Odinga, with his big stomach, has exposed himself as wanting these positions. Ruto, we know, doesn't care about you. He's in India right now, eating whatever rice, those hot rice. But what I'm trying to say is this. It is time. Okiya Mtata, if he doesn't want to stand up,